All right, folks, let's kick off this Sunday the right way, shall we? And bring out our two teams. It's G2 and Furia.
G2, they seem to be the Titans of Americas, but have taken a tiny step back. Now they're fighting for that spot to make sure they qualify for playoffs. This wouldn't be the first time they're in kind of a tricky situation, but it is definitely the first time we've seen them this low when it comes to Americas. 5 of these players, super veterans, but it looks like they need to find their synergy.
On the Furia side, they're just coming off of a close match against 2G on Friday, which also kind of just doubled as a basic masterclass. The numbers he was putting up were phenomenal, given he doesn't even have much experience on the Phoenix. But something I am a little bit worried about going into this match, though, is that Koala expressed some discomfort on the Neon, and now he's going up against a really talented Neon in Jogamo. So I think this will be a great test for him to go against Jaw in this
case. It certainly is going to be a challenge of this Furia composition change, Vora, and they're going to need to step up in a big way, specifically Koala, based on what Alexis said and when I talked with him last.
Yeah, I think Koala's, taking a step back from, his jet op and all that stuff and playing Neon more. I feel like he's taking a step back away from using op. When you use Neon, it's more like you're right flank, getting in the action, getting in their faces, and I think he has to find that middle ground of what's okay and what's going to be different in his gameplay to approach the game.
Yeah, and I feel like on the other side, we kind of have a little bit of a similar situation where Jog, he's on that Neon, maybe not diving as much as he should be, maybe not as aggressive as he should be, but then he's also not really followed up by that.
That's what I was going to say. I just want him to have some more support out there.
Exactly, he needs some more support. Yes, they have Trent on the flash as a sky jail, as you called it, Alexis, but they still need more. They need someone up there trading, making sure they're taking that aggressive space, and it's not going to be Baby Bay when he's just on the chamber.
It's a tough one. And actually, let's go ahead and see these maps and how it gets laid out. We got Split, Haven, and if necessary, Breeze. This is interesting. Curious what we're going to see compositionally here we're going to get that double duelist without a doubt on Split, but I'm just really curious, G2, like how do they try to stave off these aggressive pushes, these aggressive plays that this Furia team is going to try to execute on?
I mean, something that's good for them is they have a strong Vice player, right, in Baby Bay, and that is a direct counter on Split to the double duelist comp. They have to play more methodically to kind of bait out that wall, bait out the Vice thorns. They have to find the Vice every round. They can't just rush a site, run into vines. They have to think about it a bit harder. So I'm hoping to see them pull out a Vice. I would love to see them also adapt to the double duelists and counter them with their own aggression, but I just don't know what I'm going to see.
I think on the other side, when I'm looking at Furia, this map pick makes a lot of sense because actually the last time they played this, which was against 2G, that's where Basic had his best performance going into this, 22-9 on this map with the Phoenix. It feels like they really found their footing and they knew how to play it on a micro level.
I think Furia as well, they understand Split. They know they're a pretty slow, methodical team in general in attack. I think the Vice isn't really going to put too much pressure on them. I think they already play Split quite slow. I think they're going to go with a game plan that makes sense around the Vice. They're not going here with empty-handed. I think they're really, Split in general is a comfort for them, and I think they're going to have the right game plan to approach the Vice. I'm more curious about their mid-rounding and how they're going to approach getting pushed around. I think that's what Vice kind of excels at, is making you second-guess yourself. You're going to go into thorns, you're going to go into a wall, you might get trapped, so I want to see how they adapt in the mid-game. That's what they do.
Well, they won't even need to worry about the Vice here, it seems like, because they're going to be dealing with a chamber instead.
Both teams sticking with their same comps, choosing to not change anything. I don't really know how I feel about this, Vora. Do you feel like
I was going to ask.
This is like an
what do you think?
anti-level thing? Or?
I mean, playing as Baby's chamber myself, I think honestly they're going to be Furia's a very slow team. Okay, attack, they're going to be walking around. I think now looking at this, they're just going to be careful of the off angles, all that stuff. I think playing as chamber is very suffocating in its own way. It's like a parallel device. They have to play it in a different way, but also kind of the same way. They need to be very diligent and need to be very methodical about how they play around the chamber.
All right, well, you heard from Vora. He'll be back with us to talk about this game, and let's get this show started, shall we? Our squads are locked in, ready to go. Let's send it over to your casters, and I'm so pumped to toss to these two people. It's Shift and Ash.
Been a while since you've had one of those tosses to be GB. Good to see you. Good to see you. Great breakdown on the desk, and it sets up what should be a little bit of a David versus Goliath right now. Yes, G2 find themselves maybe a little bit earlier into the play-in bracket than they'd like to, but they're still looking very comfortable in terms of champions points. This is really just about don't slip up, don't make a mistake versus this Furia squad.
On top of that, the two teams that they lost to in Group Omega were the top two who made it into playoffs, being at the 100 Thieves and Loud. This is a G2 roster who have been going back to their roots when it comes down to how they're approaching the game plan, moving away from that double duelist previously, and really looking to enable this chamber here for Baby Bay. He's been a difference maker in the server for this team.
Well, it's time for your match start, brought to you by Samsung OLED. We've got Furia trying to extend the upper bracket run. G2, their debut on the stage here in the Stage 2 play-ins. Let's get it on. And we're going to get an early look for G2, possibly to challenge this double smoke setup at mid. Right in the ballpark, though, is Shy. And it looks like based on where this offensive dark cover is, it's going to call some help over as they're going to get a snake bite early. Good flash to come through. Artisan with the paranoia right behind that. Looking for the right clicks. Is going to find a ton with it. Furia walking away with the majority of eliminations.
Really nicely done there from Furia, the trap play. And we've talked so much about also how good Shy has been in those anchor positions. A great amount of support to come in. And Baby Bay in a 1v4. Tall order to ask, especially with that spike down into male. See if you can do anything.
Yeah, great anti-start right there from Furia. And maybe some of that is just given off of that little nod towards that offensive dark cover behind the poison cloud. Furia quick to rotate. It works out perfectly. So now it's just down to what damage can Baby Bay actually pull here. First contact. Nothing. Okay, really strong start for Furia, only dropping one in the process. Great read through mid.
Absolutely, Furia. It's the defense that they've consistently looked the strongest on, especially with those trap plays, using the relay bolts coming out from Koala Noob. That's where we've consistently seen the most value ever since Koala has stepped into this new role. Perfect layer of utility there coming out from Furia up against G2, who were looking for that perfect time too. And he knows it. He knows that those Suns have been so solid to stall those pushes.
Really, really strong start for Furia. Ooh, G2 feeling froggy here. Little 4-stinger hit on the purchase coming into our anti. Same setup with these double smokes. Shy right into the mix, immediately dealt with by Leaf. Somehow, though, Basic is able to stay away from all of it. Artisan finds the individual 1v1 over towards B main, and once more, I mean, the desk, I'm sure, is sitting here smiling ear to ear. You talk about Basic on this Phoenix, and he's looking unbelievable once again. Koala Noob just running forward will take the last one out, and that's a super solid start for Furia.
Very much so here on the side of Furia, especially when you know that G2, they're trying to get that operator online early for Baby Bay. Being able to stave off that early start with building that economy is definitely huge, and denying that opportunity to G2 for now.
It is. It's unbelievable to kind of look back over towards the Furia 2-game matchup that we had on Friday and say, there's no way Basic has only played Phoenix one time. Looking really solid here to start, as we're going to get, obviously, the very significant bonus here for Furia after the force buy for G2 comes up empty. So now it's about headhunters and sheriffs, seeing if G2 can find a way to muster around here in round 3.
Consistently going to have to keep an eye out for these inserts from Leaf on the other side of the map. When G2 played up against Sentinels in week 3, that 13-8 was so often off the back of Leaf going 25 and 12 with these insane lurk timings.
Well, that may be called upon here once again. You can obviously see the situation here at A main. Com also ready to swing in case there is contact off of the judge. Offensive wall will go up. There's the noise. Koala able to hit the first 2 shots beautifully. Now changing position, looking for more as Com is right there to assist, and it's a flawless round for Furia.
An incredibly hot start here for Furia. They kick things off 10-2 up against 2G. And so many of those rounds actually were in those retake scenarios. Jeff, they won 8 of those retakes in that matchup. They haven't even had to, even attempt that at this point because G2 have yet to be able to find that plant onto site. Now though, for G2, we're going to have those weapons online coming into this next round. They need to break this streak from Furia.
Yeah, big time. And because of the flawless round, Furia are now just building up their bank account, still holding on to a couple of Spectres and that judge. First contact here at B main. Baby Bay in some trouble, able to rendezvous away. Jajamon right there for a little bit of assistance, and that will be the first time we've had first blood for G2. Furia feeling the pressure at B main, but no commitment here from the attack.
Just waiting for the timing also on that A main lurk. Whatever information Leaf is trying to get, but actually looking to regroup with the team. It won't be the case. Good timing to dodge that Prowler.
This is slightly problematic, though, for Furia, mostly because of trying to contest the mid portion of the map is a little bit more difficult since that Poison Cloud is not there for the Viper. Here comes the hit over towards B main. Trailblazer to clear some space behind the fast lane. Jajamo will get free reign of B. How do Furia attempt for the retake? Really good guiding light. Should be able to read at least 2 of the players' backside dirt. And now the defense starts to set up their control points as they look to possibly contest largely off this 2-2 split.
Yeah, looking to retake B. Heaven Basic does have that hot hands to be able to throw into backside, clear out Trent. It will be Hell instead, but it's not going to clear out the corner.
No, Baby Base still healthy. Valen able to find the opener. Shy making their move, able to get the opener and stay alive. Need help from Basic up top. Time is running low. You have to make a move. You have to go quickly. And as they make their fall in towards this site, that's when G2 collapse. Maybe be able to find the opener onto Calm. Nice timing here from Jajamo, who will take 3 in the round, and G2 are on the board.
Much needed one there for G2 as well to stabilize that economy. Nicely done and held into the post plant. That's also a little bit of a preview of, yes, we have seen the retakes from Furia be so successful, even when Koala isn't still alive into the round. But those relay bolts really do make such a big difference for breaking up those crossfires.
Yeah, I think that round right there, I mean, honestly, it's just that play through mid is so different because the Viper's playing over towards A. You don't get that Poison Cloud down. You saw the Blaze Wall have to come through for Fury just to contest mid, and you saw how antsy Calm was about giving up mid before they could set their retake up. Koala Noob, aggressive angle, able to find perfect timing to shut down Baby Bay early. And what largely has been G2 kind of doing this 1-3-1 split, now all of a sudden you need to try to get back together and force a different initiative elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, I like that they're going back into this mid pressure, and this timing for Jawgamo could be absolutely perfect. You do see Furia looking to bolster that A site, understanding that there is that gap there into Vent.
That hot hand does deter some of the play over towards Male. Basic getting back on towards side, able to avoid most of that guiding light. But G2 have established their pressure at mid. You can see what that does to the defense. Pulling the Viper off. Also has Calm half committed onto B. And with 50 seconds on the clock, G2 are going to kill the noise and see if they can keep push-pulling this defense around.
Again, getting Leaf inserted into these positions where he can cut off the rotation in a man disadvantage, try to whittle down the numbers to equalize there for G2 or even get more if possible.
Well, based off this offensive wall, you have to feel like there's going to be a crunch up top at ramps to get Heaven control. The defense has not committed to re-rotating back over. Koala Noob not able to find vision on anything until the fast lane drops. And now the overdrive is out, but Jajamo is able to find the response. Shy in some trouble, but able to keep their life backside screens as the defense rotates over. The big position here is this one from Leaf. Dark cover towards screens. Really good flash. Never an opportunity for Leaf to even pull the trigger. So the 4v2. Run it back for Basic. Going to be spent trying to get the space over towards Elbow, and that's enough. Valen will drop. Jajamo the last one left. 1v4 with the overdrive out. Basic putting pressure on towards the spike, but the post-plant position will be challenged by Calm, and Furia is going to be up 4-1.
Really nicely done there by Furia. And again, there's also been that change in leadership. Once again, there, Artzine back into the driver's seat here for the Furia roster. We also know that Calm has such a big hand into the mid-round with how much he does relay information to the team. And in moments like this, we're also seeing Furia, as they've kind of heated up after they finally stopped the bleeding with that game up against 2G, their micro has been improving there. Like right now on split, it does feel like we've seen improvements that we're looking for in that 2G matchup.
I like the call. So far, trends looking really, really solid for Furia. G2 will be on a broken bye here with really not much to work with in terms of their ultimates either. So difficult round 6 to come. G2 looking to go quickly, and they're going to make a quick hit on towards A as we jump into a listen in.
No, I'm good. Come. He dog spawn?
Two, I'm playing.
Yo, orb down to 2, okay?
They were heavy here.
They're about to retake A man.
They're trying to retake ramp. They have no neon stun.
I can paranoid ramp. Just paranoid a buffer, look at me. Okay. Dre just TP to delay and I win.
Deep.
Orb for you, Heaven.
Still Heaven. On your right. On your left now. That's it.
Dead.
It should be ramp now.
A lower.
Two more, Dre.
Viper 90. Nice trade.
I think both main.
Not out main yet.
Last one main last.
Main, deep main.
Main's
Posted.
Baby!
What a play from Leaf. I mean, you have to go back and rewatch the minimap, but he looks like he's so far out of the play at mid, and then you hear the comms coming through. G2 said, whoa, 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 they're all on ramps, and all of a sudden, Leaf just hits the high road, moves quickly, comes up at perfect timing. Thank you for the op, and single-handedly is the difference maker for G2.
He's always so consistent when it comes down to threading that needle on those flanks, those lurks. Again, Split is consistently Leaf's playground here on the Viper. Furia, though, trying to shift things a bit with Koala now posted up into mid with that operator.
This is going to be a big conversation point, though, for Furia about what's happening at mid because of this 1-3-1 split that we're starting to see, and with Shy largely leaning towards A, the middle of the map has been wide open for G2 to take, and trying to stop it with just the hot hands is likely not going to be enough for the length of this first half. Basic still holding into a corner. Fast lane will fall. Initial trade comes through, but Leaf is able to find Basic before he could really stop the play. Artisan is able to get out, keep their life, but the Viper's Pit blocks off all of that play through mid, and there's going to be a very, very healthy post plan here for G2.
Rescuing a rifle at the very least here for Art. If Calm can get one, Nightfall could come online.
Viper's Pit falls there. I don't know if that was intentional there from Leaf. Could not re-inspire the integrity of the gas. Seeds will come through. Leaf still holding in the bottom. Artisan able to get the opener. Calm and Shy need to work their way in from opposite angles. Problem is, you're running out of time here, and it looks like Furia may just back off and play for exits.
Toxins going up.
I'm not mad about it, necessarily. It
feels winnable. I mean,
I think they just gave too much respect to the fact that they didn't have any utility that could push BBVA off of any angle, so didn't want to take that risk. G2, though, again, these adjustments to be able to understand that they can abuse that mid space that you called out is huge. And we talked about it at the beginning of this map, how good Shy is, how important he is when it comes down to being able to anchor space and how much of a difference maker he can be here for Furia. And now you see the adjustment, Shy back over into vents.
Yeah, I feel like we just have to put the Poison Cloud down here at mid, keep replacing it with the Dark Cover, just do the standard job. Keep that middle of the map contested as best you possibly can. Guiding Light through the Dark Cover, though, at B main. Puts a little bit of pressure here on Artisan, who takes one shoulder check and says not really all that interested. Hunting for toes is Baby Bay. But as the smoke expires, now we'll do it the old-fashioned way. Minute 10 on the clock. G2 are still finding ways to put some pressure through mid with that little Trailblazer. Guiding Light to follow. That may be enough for them to start making their commitment to try to feel out the other side of the map before they actually execute.
Furia also have such a good understanding, it seems, of how G2 likes to play that very slow default, where they're looking for that information, trying to work those picks there for Baby Bay. And after the initial conditioning of getting aggressive when they knew it was the time to do so before that operator got online, now they play bunkered, not willing to give those peaks over.
Well, the defense is set up to receive this potential hit. Judgment's just going to walk up. Now makes their move. Really good utility coming through the relay bolt, in particular from Koala, who sets himself up for two. Now the slide! Oh my goodness!
Spike down A.
Huge hold from Furia. And Baby Bay is just going to sit here and let the round expire. Brilliant from Furia's defense at A, not dropping a single player.
It's so hard here for G2 to be able to execute on those sites. It really relies on them being able to find that opening, find those picks on the first layer of utility. With the fact that you invest so much into trying to get Jogamo onto that site, help him create that space, but throw all of the support that's being thrown, like the desk was talking about ahead of this matchup, you don't have anyone who's able to follow up quick enough for those trades.
I like the call a lot. And I think that adjustment from Fury is exactly what the doctor ordered right there. Just allow Artisan to continue to kind of play a little bit of an island on his own towards B. He can stall for a long time. Keep replacing the smoke at mid. Force G2 to have to spend utility if they're going to try to continue to contest the middle ramp. And then just stack the box at A. It's been really, really well formulated. Still full purchase here for G2. They're going to be low on economy, though, if things start to go awry in this round 9, though.
Poison's off. Toxin screen down.
Re-clear over at the A side. Not going to see anything over at ramps.
This would be a different way to challenge mid. Blazewall will come through. Once again, just trying to do what they can to contest. Seekers at the ready for Trent. He's going to call that out immediately. Basic feeling the pressure once more. Just puts the hot hands down, but it does not completely encompass the top side of the stairs. So Jogger was able to find first blood. Now you've got all your utility to blind out this site. Artisan able to stay alive for now. Tucked in cover. Can Shy jump in to help? He's able to try to get on. Nightfall to come through. Artisan still stuck in the corner. Jojimo to find another as Shy is traded out on site. G2 with the numbers. And Fury a decision to make here in a 2v4.
Koala so far away from this play here, expecting the save to come through. And yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to be going for this one. G2 making nice adjustments when it comes down to that pacing. Good understanding of the pressure I think that Leaf's presence on the map puts, even if he isn't in that lurking kind of position. And it's tough for Basic to try and hold that mid space with the hot hands.
Absolutely.
Like, the snake bite is a completely different story because even if you're trying to dash through it, you get past it, you are applying that vulnerability. But with the hot hands, you get a couple ticks of damage off, and then Koala Noob's already in your face. Sometimes you have Jogamo is already in your face, and then sometimes you have Valen like TPing in as well. Like everyone's just running forward.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that Fury need to go back to what they had done the round prior to this one in round 8, where you again just continue to throw out the poison cloud, replace it with the dark cover. You can stack the map just a little bit differently, but you're absolutely right. I think the Phoenix trying to solo hold right now up top at mid is just likely not going to be enough for Fury to keep this trend going through the last couple of rounds.
It looks like we might go for that quick execution here from G2 on this A side with the 5-man stack. Fury are ready for it though. They have 3.
Sure Fast lane come through, Haunt in the way. Khan able to spam things out for first blood. And that is an absolutely perfect recipe. And this is kind of why I'm sitting here. Like if you're Fury, they've been putting their poison cloud up at 8 ramps and it really has not been a linchpin for success for G2. Mostly because if you're looking at it from Com's perspective, you can just seize Haunt it, and that's enough contest to stop G2 from getting full A tower control. So really good adjustment here from Furia. First blood out, 5v4, minute 10 on the clock.
G2, Baby Bait needs to find a pick. It's been so hard to see the value right now out from the lurks. He's been punished, or Furia also have not been giving him anything.
Artisan in some trouble. Bobble Bob from Shy. Absolutely brilliant. Has a snake bite down Fallon and the next one in line. And he's tagged to 16 HP. Cannot get away from Basic, who's quick to tally the trade. And it'll all rest with Baby Bait.
That was a perfect demonstration of the exact hold that we needed to see out in mid. Again, how pivotal Shy's utility is on that Viper. To be able to contest that space, make it that much harder for G2 to break through.
Oh, Baby Bay's going to give this a go. So for the 1 versus 3 off 30 HP. If you're Furia, just run out of your Koala Noob, be the bait. Allow Basic and Com to follow up. There's no way with an op he clutches this. Surely not. Koala Noob gonna stick, and Com will be right there to hold the angle. Really solid round from Furia, 6-4 up.
Both sides making great adjustments to be able to try and throw the other off. This hold from Shy was just absolutely diabolical, being able to get 2 there with that spray transfer.
Nice! Nice, let's go guys!
Financial straits potentially on the cards here. If G2 drop this round, they're going to have the tour de force for Baby Bay. Full rifles across the board everywhere else. And we're looking for our first possible early peek over towards B main, but Art's in holding the dark cover. But once again, we still a little bit different this time because QualiNoob's got the scope up through mid, but different wall position for Furia, different setup overall for Shy, but this is all afforded by the fact that QualiNoob can challenge mid with the op.
And the other thing too is with that toxic screen, it forces G2 to use Trent's utility on that Sky to clear out that space a bit earlier instead of being able to scale up closer into Mail to get that Trailblazer in.
I'm just really surprised that G2 get the read that the setup is different again at mid where they found so much success that they're going to try to go back and challenge A ramps this time. And maybe some of it is because, okay, we know that QualiNoob is going to be so far out of the picture that we won't get held by a relay bolt this time. But instead, it's a really nicely timed snake bite from Shy. C's was right there with it. Jawjamo now making their move with the overdrive to clear out tower, trying able to find first blood. Viper's Pit on the backside of screens is really not going to affect G2 all that much because look at the re-wrap back through mid. Brilliant read here from G2. Now it just comes down to winning the gunfights on B.
It's about to get really messy with this reflood back onto site. Furia thinking that they already had the space, but they're re-wrapping back around. They do not have time for this. Shy going down changes everything.
Yeah, Shy was kind of stuck of, do I need to go help? Do I need to stay here? And G2 able to find the pick, drop the Viper's Pit, and get the post plant at A. This is one of those rounds for Furia that's going to feel so difficult to even re-navigate just simply due to the fact that you have all of this extra space that was just grabbed by G2. You don't know if someone's in your spawn. You don't know if they're holding at ramps, and it looks like Furia are just going to kind of cut their losses and save.
Absolutely. Especially because, I mean, it's not like their pockets are hurting, but you don't want to risk helping Trent cycle into those Seekers for the final round of this half. Furia, we've seen the adjustments. We've seen how good the mid holds can be when Shy is there to lock it down. I think the extremities have been a bit tough at times because they have that pressure from Leaf on the lurk, and then you also don't see QualiNoob taking too deep of angles without the assistance of Artzine throwing a deep smoke or the deeper toxic screen, and it's because they're trying to also respect Baby Bay in those positions as well.
Well, you see Basic running out. That death will allow him to earn the run it back coming into the last round of the half. Full purchase for both teams, well afforded. And this could be critical, considering how this half had started. If G2 can find a way to get this to a 6-6 half, they're going to feel very, very good about how they're able to navigate Furia's early presence. And the dark cover that we saw in the opening rounds from G2 toss right behind the Poison Cloud, putting pressure on towards mid. And this will be the first time we've had a kind of 3-2 split up where Baby Bay looks like he may try to challenge an early peek at ramps, but
that's a good spot.
Instead it's the trademark down, deny the Prowler, force out some utility, but Baby Bay is actually looking for contact here. Hold on a second. Wants the 1v1 versus either Koala or Calm. And he's going to get it, and QualiNoob is going to take the dub. So an early 5v4, and all of a sudden G2, who are trying to rotate back over to A, have to really figure out what they actually want to commit to here.
You have Trent trying to play spoiler in the middle of the map. Flash is going out into the heaven.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter. Koala's on the line.
Calm still in position as soon as the fast lane drops. QualiNoob's also got a backup weapon just in case. And G2 are absolutely stuck. Nowhere to go. VALORANT able to find one in response, but this would be a 2 versus 5 situation. The run it back is still here for Basic, playing with the clock. Loses out his first life to VALORANT, but Calm is right there, and VALORANT's got nowhere to go. At least he shouldn't have anywhere to go. And there we are. Furia's going to take a 7-5 half. Really, really solid from Furia.
Looking good right now. Great adaptations, good ante up against G2 as well. A very solid understanding of how G2 wanted to approach the attacking side. We saw moments of brilliance, especially with those lurk positions to find that success for G2. But when it came down to those full-fledged hits, that was a bit of a struggle.
Agreed, absolutely. So G2 stumbling a little bit. mostly off of just the set plan that Furia had in mind for the first 5-6 rounds. The ideas start to come together, but maybe a little bit too late for G2. So we'll have to swap the sides and see if Furia can keep up a really solid split. We'll find out when we come back.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up here. It all started when I got to the FIFA World Cup, and wow, thousands of Verizon customers.
Oh, you got the free Verizon tickets too?
No, I'm with amazing seats.
I'm sorry. Okay.
And even pitch-side access.
Are you? David Beckham.
A Verizon customer.
This used to be for players. Now it's for Verizon customers. No one gets you closer. Only on Verizon.
Recently, you've been falling back more onto that Vise, onto that chamber, and you've looked great. But do you ever miss just running it down on the ISO Neon?
Absolutely not. I'm very happy where I am right now.
Glad to hear it. It looks great. Oh,
Thank you.
love that.
Yeah,
love
like
that. Yeah, little chamber.
Teleport out here.
Okay.
Furia with the opening statement here on Split, enjoying a 7-5 lead as we swap the sides. They're going to get a crack at the offense, which, again, just kind of based on what we had seen from this Furia squad when they were playing up against 2Game, we really didn't have a chance to evaluate much of their offense because they won 10 rounds defensively. So opportunity here for us to really get a look to see what Furia has, and if they can take this opening pistol, they should be feeling very confident about their ability to run into Haven up 1-0.
Well, what we have our eyes on here for Furia is going to be that spacing, that comfort there. Again, for Koala, this Neon has been a new role for him. And while he's always looked very stunning since picking it up on the defensive side, it's been that attack that has been a little bit more uncomfortable, not used to being that first point of entry for his team.
Yeah, that was a big statistical boon for them. Looking at it, he was like 1 in 10 on the offensive side on one of the maps versus 2Game. He was like 0 in 8 in first blood contacts. Not what you want to see, but looks like he's going to find an entryway this time around. Trent backside, able to find one. Paranoia to try to isolate. Will work out. Baby Bay in some trouble. Dealt with it. Koala able to find 2.
Spike down A.
And Koala looks a little smooth right now. Tell you what, feeling like there's a little bit of extra confidence in the mix as Leaf will drop in. Furia looked good for the pistol, pending Valen doesn't do something insane.
Hey, sometimes it's just shaking off the first official where you're pulling out a new role.
Valid.
Nice adjustments thus far. The work that Furia has put in the past couple of days.
First contact is clean from Valen. Paranoia towards elbow, no one home. Koala's in a little bit of a hindrance position, low on health. Ghost picked up. You see the shoulder on towards Com. And Valen is going to try to get this thing at least a halfway, but Koala just sneaks around, gets 3 in the round. That'll do wonders for the confidence for Koala Noob.
Both pistols now being picked up here by Furia. They picked into this map feeling confident after that win up against 2G. And for very good reason. Now, G2. Let's see if they're going to be able to find a bit more of that success here on the defensive side. You're looking over at Baby Bait, trying to get set up on some of those deeper lines.
I mean, G2, one of the squads that loves to force buy after a pistol loss, and they're going to find lots of success with it. Jonathan able to find 2, resets and gets a headshot onto Koala Noob, but cannot finish the food. So a decent trade there as Furia still find ways to get on towards A. Defense moving quickly, but there's going to be a post plant set up for Furia.
3 takes though from G2. It's one of the best. They're one of the best teams in Americas at it.
The timing of this crunch up top is going to be everything. Baby Bay up, able to find the first with the Headhunter. Not going to anticipate the second from Shy. Calm, in some trouble here. Able to step away. Couple weapons to play with, clean first shot. Not able to tally the second though, so it leaves it down to Viper versus Viper, Shy versus Leaf. Pressure been put on towards the spike, and Leaf is able to win the gunfight. I mean, it looked like for a moment Shy was going to bring that one back from the depths, but G2 with the forced purchase able to get them their 6th.
Clinical out from Leaf, and again, the retakes, something that G2 have consistently been so good at the top of the retake game, honestly. Definitely a heartbreaking round there for Furia. Dogmo being able to open this round up though with 2 picks made all of the difference to keep Furia from setting up comfortably into a post plant.
Huge. Yeah, that one hurts. Furia looking to go up 9-5 and put a ton of daylight on the scoreboard. Now all of a sudden you're in a even eco situation between both teams. Baby Bay, Outlaw out. Not comfortable with the first shot, has to snap away. Noob already getting a ton of space behind that fast lane. And another quick plant for Furia.
Opportunity to take some space into screens there. Prowler will get the information.
Oh, Artisan trying to challenge this Ramps play as G2 are able to get a little bit of space back. The heal will come through. But you have to clear all of this space out. Shy still holding in the corner. Good information for Jojima. Relay bolt will come through. Shy able to find one. Not able to get more than that. But at least there's a trade on the other side of this site. Fury is still holding, but now here comes the crunch. Basic for 1. Nice shot from Baby Bay. Takes the head off of Noob. It leaves it down to Calm. 1 versus 2. Time becoming a bit of an issue. Time becoming a very big issue. Trying to be able to find the pick, but is there enough time? Doesn't feel that way. And Furia are going to survive in their post plant with just half a second remaining for a Red Bull clutch.
Furia being able to whittle down the seconds there. Calm. Honestly, the reposition just at the perfect moment. Really nicely done there by Furia, getting a better preview now of how their split can look. And you love to, you know, Shaw is so loud we don't even get to hear his audio. Ever notice that?
I sure have. Big bounce back for Furia. G2 will bring a hero rifle in the hands of Leaf. Jojima will have a stinger as this stack defensively in towards mid will be how G2 try to find a way to pull another round back. Noob already at the overdrive. Shy is tremendously close to a Viper's pit as well, which is incredible news for Furia. Same can be said though for Leaf after the hot start here in the second half.
G2 poison ready for a trap play, but it will also allow a very fast flood onto that B site after Furia show their hand.
Well, Blazeball will start. Fast lane to follow. Paranoia also cuts across. Defense not affected by that really much at all. So now it's just down to G2 trying to find a way to retake. They're going to get the fast lane out early. That's going to give them some space to move their way over through ropes. And Leaf's going to find first blood with that hero rifle. Noob feeling the pressure. Has already pulled the overdrive. And he's at some range here. So if you're Fury, you're not feeling very confident in your ability to re-clear some of the space out. Smokes will fade. Now it's just down to can you win the gunfights, and Leaf finds a second. Flash comes through. Noob able to find one before dropping, but Shy completely affected by the flash. And G2 continue to give us this back and forth affair in the second half of Split.
Consistently good at those retakes, but not just that, also on those half-buy rounds, when they are on those eco disadvantages, it's something that G2 are so comfortable in converting. The way that they look to play together, leveraging the fact that they're consistently finding those swings, sure, maybe a little bit of luck with that one shot we saw dropping down from rafters there.
Great TP, baby. That was insane. Let's go, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Insane TP. But wow, this completely throws this half into disarray. Furia will take the pack punish and just go on towards basic pistols with one ghost for Koala Noob. So the eco starting to establish control for G2. Baby Bay, Outlaw out. This is the first shot. Holds for an opportunity for the second, but eventually will teleport back towards safety.
Shy trying to find an opening here, but will be spotted out by Jogamo.
Deep Trailblazer, that's a lot of space for G2 to know.
Doesn't see Calm. Jump spot will be heard though. And I think a part of why we also saw the shift in leadership for Furia back into Artisan is because Calm is so well known for being that lurking initiator. And it opens up that opportunity for him to play a bit more solo.
Timing of this walkdown could be everything. Koala Noob seen on the cross. Leaf and Jogamo just trying to hold off this Furia attack. And they do delay the spike a little bit longer towards getting on towards A. You still have that lurk position for Calm. This Nightfall could be a difference maker if and only if you can find a couple eliminations. And now all of a sudden with those Seekers called, you're going to have G2 with free re-entry back over towards ramp side. Artsin will drop backside of the screen. No problem there. And Shy, who was trying to set up a bit of a pinch, will eventually be traded away. Casual stuff for G2, but you have to expect that with the weapon advantage that they carried.
Yeah, I like the idea with Shy going back for the re-lurk. If there were guns in hands, maybe a bit of a different story because they wouldn't expect that second person. But G2, again, the retakes have been so clean from them. Furia. In this round, though, we do have some very impactful ultimates at hand. Basic has that run it back. So good at finding value in it since he's hopped onto this Phoenix. Nightfall as well. Shy does have that Viper's pit into the post plant to delay.
Yeah, I think that's the big key right there is in the post plant. Furia need to see one go through the hoop. You've got everything you could possibly want. But if G2 find a way to get this to a 9-9, we'll see how things unfold. Wow, that's a really, really clean first elimination there. Resets the run it back. Not a lot of space given. The Genius get to work spraying through this fast lane. Baby Bay still holding a bit of an angle as Trent is providing some oversight behind the play, and that's enough to what you would think just put this route out of question, but Shy has other ideas in mind. Cannot get through Valen, who gets 4 in the round, and that all starts first and foremost with Baby Bay shutting down the run it back immediately upon it popping.
What an insane anchor position there. The fact that Valen did not have to move from this back box is honestly crazy. Typically, you would have seen some, like any other Omen would have shrouded steps out at that point, but standing his ground there, the IGL.
Oh, and that's the big thing about that run it back, not getting even close to getting through B main, is that Valen doesn't feel the pressure to have to give away that space. He's got Trent up top. You still got Baby B on a close corner in case someone tries to push up behind a flash. Like, everything is well covered. So the bunker is made more formidable thank you to that run it back not even getting in towards the site. So now the timeout gets called. That was an expensive round for Furia, tied down 9-9. And you still have an opportunity, I think, to get a little bit of purchase here. But if you're Furia, this is a very key moment in this map on your pick to try to get this thing through the hoop.
Right now, it's been Koala who has been such a star here for Furia. Consistent on that defensive side, being such a big piece in those opening picks. Now on attack, has been able to create that space.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen those numbers tick up too much.
Not too much, but it's not nearly as bad as what it was during the first time he played it, which is good news.
It's an improvement, for sure.
But the numbers when we saw it was just like, whoa. That just cannot exist. So, again, got to give credit. Koala Noob, 19-10, doing a much better job overall, not just for space, but also just overall participation in the kill feed, whether it's first bloods or not. But still, the momentum has shifted here on this map as G2 will have the weapon advantage. A couple of stingers, as mentioned, which if you can get a post plant into a Viper's pit, you're feeling pretty good about your chances to hold that with stingers in particular, but the first step is getting through Leaf, and he's just throwing out shots, and he's chipping some significant damage. Oh, man.
Sprays through smoke, man. Like, he's good for one every time, it feels like.
Well, he's about to get challenged out. You got to be careful here if you're Leaf. He's running out of ammunition. And he's going to have just enough support here with that paranoia to come through. Post plant does get set up. Deep Viper's pit here. It's going to put a lot of pressure on G2 to have to clear this out, but they're instead going to make their move over towards the front side at ramps first. Now they're going to crunch the pit if at all possible, but Fury are finding eliminations that they need. Trades for Trent and a follow-up. Huge shot. Leaves it just down to Shy. Pit will fall. Jotamo shuts him down, and G2 will get to double digits first.
Great retake coming in there from G2. Perfectly clearing out the players. Their poor Furia, Basic and Calm set up in these positions where it was really about just being that delay while the other two played inside that pit. But perfectly picked apart thanks to that relay bolt as well as the hot hands that come in. Operator online here for Baby Bay. Will be shifting into this vent position that allows that quick reposition into stairs afterwards. Early pit out. Leaf, a lot of delay, a lot of good information as well. Here's 1 to 2 players spraying into B main.
Yeah, that's absolutely, I mean, just tally what the map looks like right now for G2 with that Viper's pit coming down that early. Trademark rendezvous set up for the chamber. If Baby Bay feels the pressure, he can reestablish control at B tower. Look how aggressive, though, G2 are being over towards sewers, but Shy anticipates it. Able to get the first. He wants more. I think he just saw the barrel, but Valon's able to slip back towards safety. Regardless, though, numbers advantage for Furia, and they're going to get mid-control to try to crunch onto A.
Trent either needs to go big in A heaven or has to back off to retake with the team.
Well, he's going to give himself maybe a chance at a first contact. Nope, backs up to screens.
Gotta go. Blinded.
Flash will find the information. So, you do have Seekers available here for Trent into the retake.
Lane doesn't fully get to where it's intended to go, but you're able to get a flash onto Valon on the site, who's able to find one. Not the second, though. The trade is quickly there. Trent able to keep their life. That you wouldn't figure the Seekers would find much value in this moment at the current time being. So if you're G2, you have to do this the hard way. And Trent almost opens the door through elbow. But instead, it's a 3-2-1 swing at A ramps. Baby Bay is just going to sit here and see if you can find a couple of picks, as it looks like G2 should pretty much just save this one outright.
Really, really nice calls there from Furia into the post plant. The layer of having that haunt alongside that double swing really is what shuts down G2 from even attempting to flood in at that disadvantage. Going hunting here, Furia able to tie things up.
Critical round right there for Furia. Trent will still be holding on to Seekers, but initially, once Valon gets this first one, you're like, uh-oh, this is going completely wrong, but fortunately, Furia still had a lot of protocols built.
Exit fragging, Baby Bay, come on!
You know he's going to give it a try. You know he's going to give it a try, and G2's going to talk about it here late in the first map.
Time out to be called here by Josh RT for G2. The retakes were looking good, but now it's getting a little too close for comfort since Furia were able to tie things up. The last time these two teams faced off was all the way back in kickoff at the top of this year. They were the two to qualify to our very first Masters, and it was Furia who had originally knocked G2 down to that lower bracket. The other thing, also the first time that we're getting to see Jogamo and Calm face off against each other in quite a while. Both of those players had lifted that trophy back in 2023 on that Evil Geniuses roster. Now, for Jogamo, Calm is going to be that first hurdle to try to get through play-ins.
I like that. See what we get. Full purchase available. Baby Bay will have the Tour de Force out. He's had a little bit of a tough go of things here on Split, but bringing out The extra boom through mid could allow G2 to set themselves up just a touch differently. Quick aggression over towards A-Rams. Just a casual guiding light from Trent. Actually has Koala Noob tagged afterwards. Trailblazer to recontest. And really it only sees Koala Noob. So if you're G2, you're not going to move your defense around too much, but obviously the threat is well established here today.
Look at how far back Shy is playing these lurks every single time. Always heads up about how deep they expect Trent to look to re-clear that space with his utility, but this walk down for G2.
Oh no, I was about to say that's the issue. Without establishing that there was another layer to that approach towards A, G2 feel the comfortability and confidence to step through mid, and now all of a sudden the spike is down, and Artson's going to have to go on a bit of a Saving Private Ryan mission here. He is on his lonesome, and if there's a chance for Furia, he would have to do something immaculate over the top of the A site.
I mean, this current setup that you have for the side of G2 is basically just impossible for any player to break through. You would have to have some sort of like God flash to make it work, and even then, it's still a very tall task you're asking for.
Yeah, that one just, I'm a bit surprised that Furia throw that much aggression at ramps, but then don't even bother with a second layer, especially knowing that they really weren't contesting mid at all. You would have thought that there was going to be another element towards that approach to try to see if they can move G2's defense a little bit more passively, but not the case, and G2 will take the advantage here late.
I really like that proactivity there coming out from G2. Especially considering the fact that when it does come down to that mid control, it has constantly been those lurks for the most part that we've seen out from Furia as opposed to those heavy stacks. So just looking to play those numbers and try to punish that position.
Let's choke them.
Well, full purchase still available here for Furia, so they're not out of the picture yet, but this is a must-win. You drop this one, you're going to be on a pretty poor purchase trying to get this thing to overtime. So super important round here for Furia. Their map pick of Split. It started strong, but you drop this round and things start to feel really panicked. And once more, G2 going to show some extra force here at mid. Calm, feeling it out just a touch. The dark cover blocks, and now Furia. Ooh, they've been seen as Geronimo's able to find a barrel and take that into a second. Furia were trying to sneak their way up ramps, but immediately punished, and G2 have a huge advantage 5 versus 3.
Really nice micro call there, and Leaf to be able to take down Artzine. Feels like the nail in the coffin in this round. G2 5v2 to try and hit that match point.
No, if you're Furia, you have to be looking at these weapons like we need them. But at the same point, Walden's got some isolation over to Geronimo. Able to slip away for a small moment. Calm now by themselves, 33 HP. And this will be about saving what you can, if at all possible. G2 will get to map point. Furia backs against the wall.
We do have the Nightfall going into the next round here for Furia. Koala overdrive up. Basic only 2 away from getting that run it back. So there are pieces for Furia to work it with into the next round, but the concern being more so when it comes down to these first engagements right now. G2, they're consistently ready to react. And if they aren't reacting, the timings with the proactivity have been so perfect.
I think that's probably maybe the bigger element in these last couple of rounds in particular, right? Is just you're getting these ideas from Furia, but it's just one little thing that gets that extra information that you need for G2 to make a decision has worked out beautifully for them. And right there, it's just you're able to see just the tiniest glint of a barrel through ramps, and Furia get completely overwhelmed trying to sneak their way up. And now it's do or die time here for map number 1 for Furia. Going to talk about it. And it looks like, just kind of on our view, they will have some pretty formidable purchases, so they will be able to find a way to fight. But the big key components towards what was so successful for Furia on Friday have not necessarily been there as of yet. Basic just 11 and 15. Shy, we're going to highlight him throughout this series because as an island player, Fury, we're finding so much value out of his multi-frag ability. This has not really been a part of the picture yet, even though he is having a good map.
It's been tough. I think that for Shy, it's also been hard for him to try to work some of that space because the other side of the map isn't getting the pressure that he needs to find those openings and pull those rotations away.
Yeah, it's tougher to do on split, to be fair, too, just as a map overall. But regardless, the recipe that was built for 2G has not necessarily come back onto the menu here versus G2. Not out of the woods yet. Nightfall Overdrive, the big ones, as you mentioned. Seeker still being held on to by Trent. Just comes down to what is the actual picture that Fury are trying to paint right now, because it felt like over the last couple of rounds, they're having a real tough time even getting towards sight after they had found so much success in their post plant. Or at least getting a post plant early in this round.
But like you said, the ideas have been there from Furia. It's been more on G2 being so successful at disrupting those moments when they're just about ready to try and break through. The timings have been absolutely sublime in that regard when it comes down to some of those trap pop plays.
I like this, speaking of a trap pop play. They're trying to see if they can trap out G2 at mid. But Trent is not interested this time around. Trailblazer will come through. Prowler gets some decent info that it is just Trent. But that doesn't really impact the defense much at all, though Koala will find an opportunity to take the space as gained by that Prowler.
Trying to also use the conditioning, right? It only spots out Calm, who has been that lurking player here in mid. Now instead, a presence of 3 players, as well as Shy, looking to regroup with the team.
Really good flash. Trent's going to give that information away, but Furia, can they find a way to put pressure onto the site itself? Nightfall's going to come through. Keep your eye on Valen's position. Already slipping away, but Basic's able to find him first. Jojimo just trying and hopefully able to get something. He's able to great contact onto Koala. Calm in the corner. Turns the numbers back over to Furia. 4v2 situation, post plant set up. And Trent with Baby Bay are going to have a really tough time trying to work this one back. They're going to have 2 different 1v2 moments here. First shoulder comes through. Calm dancing, able to find the elimination onto Baby Bay, and Trent is in an impossible position here.
Flash and 5. And it doesn't even matter. Basic will clean things up with the 3K. Furia stay alive here. 11 to 12. And the adjustment was nice. I like that call coming out from Artzine in that round. The little bit of a bait and switch, having Calm show that presence. The rest of the team then contacting up to try and catch G2 off guard.
I love that they're putting pressure in the mid. I was going to call it out earlier. That feels like an opportunistic spot for them to try to use. Especially considering that these plays through A ramps have been, at best, evenly traded. That's at best. So now G2 have something to consider here before we potentially get into extra innings.
Yeah, Josh wants to close this one out. Head over to Haven here for G2. Not risk going to that overtime. Basic, run it back up and available into this following round for the side of G2. Not expecting anything to really come online except for that overdrive, maybe the Viper's Pit. Granted, when that overdrive does come online for Jogamo, it does, even weapon in hand or not, he's gonna look to rip it, and it always is so clean, guaranteeing those multi-frags there for G2.
And I think it's just a really good way to retake space behind a run it back if Jojimo is able to earn it. And keep an eye on the setup here for G2, especially over towards B, because we have not seen much of this. The trademark is still down for Baby Bay, who does have an operator. And he'll have that back over towards mid-vents, but this looks like this very well may be an early feel-out for Koala to challenge over towards, or maybe not Koala, for Jojimo to challenge over towards B main.
Well, crossfire being set up there by G2. Furia waiting to see what information G2 will give up.
This is everything right here. If Baby Bay can get one and get away, it would give G2 a massive advantage, but he misses the Prowler. So that's free space now for Fury, and all of a sudden, with G2 still committed to this play towards B main, they are extremely vulnerable at mid.
Definitely are. And it's going to come down to Artzine as well. in a 1v2 scenario, you also have Valen already ready with the paranoia, with that positioning off of Giacomo's call.
Well, they're able to spout out shy over towards A ramps. But here's the run it back play up towards mid. And once more, that is a lot of free space. And now all of a sudden, you have to find this pick. Artisan's able to find the information, though, and keep themselves alive. Valen, they will really stay committed through B main. And this is a miserable spot for G2 to be. They're going to get isolated as Koalanoob gets the first two. Brilliant setup for Furia. Koalanoob not done, able to find the third. And G2 are looking a little bit down and out here for what would have to be extra innings.
Artzine, with that paranoia, on the jiggle peek was really nicely played. Koala looking to get the top on leaf, but it doesn't matter.
2 versus 3 situation. Trent has one guiding light to get entry back on towards this site. There's the full swing. Basic able to take down Trent as that flash was anything but successful. Leaf can go nowhere, and we're seeing some extra Valorant here in map 1.
Furia taking us to OT after what looked like such a good retake there from G2 in that second half. Overall, the entries from Koala, even though he isn't necessarily pumping out crazy numbers like he did on defense, has been much cleaner than earlier this week.
So much better.
I think it does come down to not just his comfort on the agent, but how we're also seeing the timing in those micro moments, the team still adjusting to that Neon gameplay to ensure that the necessary support is being provided to Koala.
Well, here we go. Swap the sides back over. G2 found a lot of success by getting the spike down and holding post plants in that first half. Can they do so here once again? Baby Bay will bring the glass cannon into play with the operator in overtime. Trailblazer a little bit stuck behind the hot hands initially for G2, but we talked a lot about Furia's inability to successfully defend or really even contest mid, and they're already putting in a different setup as you have the hot hands, the blaze, and you also have smoke set up for Fury defensively at mid. It's forcing G2 to have to play on the outsides of the map.
Furia, he's such a weak site now. Calm, more than happy to play that retake, and G2 have held that space this entire time, this rotation to be called, but Fury are also not hearing anything over at B. They're not hearing anything at mid, so they should be cognizant of this.
Yeah, Artisan able to get himself over into position to help at A is everything, because Calm is a little bit low on utility. He's able to get the haunt back. There's the smoke, there's the flash. Artisan, a little bit of an exchange of pre-fire through the smoke. Paranoia being held, but the relay bolt goes through deep. Past Calm on an island. It's a nice first one, but it's only a one and done position. That'll be enough for G2 to get on and set up their post plant 4v4.
Being able to maintain this screen control is definitely huge. Artzine forced to Shrouded step back out down to 3.
It's a punishing amount of damage right there from G2. Koalanoob has to find value on this reapproach in towards elbow.
2 flashes on basic.
There's the first. Relay bolt, fast lane, but Leaf able to pre-fire to find the first contact. Koalanoob trying to make their way through. Baby Bay going to be completely blindsided. Koalanoob, no, not able to get more. Up top, Shy gets nothing, and G2 will take the edge in our first overtime.
And that's exactly what you were looking for, Shift, how good they were in those post plants in the later half of the attacking side. G2 now on defense. They have looked so good when it did come down to those retakes. The last couple of rounds, Furia were winning the attacking side early. Not really giving that opportunity for G2 to be able to find their way back onto those sites. And now the OT timeout here to be called by Dragon.
Yeah, and it's an appropriate one just based on how that second half had finished with Furia just finding so much value in those last 2 rounds in particular. And some of that is like G2 was trying different things. But as you start to tally that, okay, we're starting to lose some pressure through mid. Furia's found an avenue of approach that has worked out nicely for them. We need to make sure we're covering our bases. And some of that may just be off of what they want to do with Baby Bay, because he looks like he's going to pull the operator out again.
It's definitely been difficult. Baby Bay's been getting shut down on those deeper angles. Granted, not really getting that much support when it does come down to taking those lines, right? It's really just having the rest of the team play that 2-1-2, maybe a 1-1-3, depending on what the defense wants to look like. And it's been Baby like locking down mid by himself. There just hasn't been any additional layer to help him out. So it's been tough for him to be able to find the success when it comes down to those picks.
And I will say, just because of that, him being shed off these angles, I like that they're actually not going to go to the operator here for Baby Bay. Let's set it up a little bit more orthodoxally. Get Baby Bay another weapon to try to support elsewhere on the map, and that's a quick guiding light through A ramps that Baby Bay will take some of that space away. But the pressure is already established towards B. Valen, who's been great at an island, has to wait to peek, and he may be baited to throw the paranoia early, but nope, instead it's just a dark cover replacement. And the defense will still hold their key stall utility points, at least onto the B side for now.
Constantly a story of trying to get Furia controllers set up on those extremities.
Watch your eyes. Judgment will take a little bit of chip damage over towards Vents. Leaf sliding over, responds with some of his own. Koala Noob is sitting there like, yee. We stay 5v5 with 50 on the clock.
Toxins going up.
Shifting over to this A side, wanting to put that pressure on. I thought it was going to be a bait and switch, but the entire team actually going to look to regroup outside of A. Baby Bay's been holding this angle the entire time, but they're getting ready to swing together.
Flash at the ready for basic as well. Talk about your cause and effect. Screen will come through, and just the smallest of ankles seen is enough for Baby Bay to hold down the trigger and get first blood. And from here, Furia have to kind of commit through this. The problem is, Jajimo's in position to stall out and potentially be a great first defensive layer onto this A site. And a dark cover comes through perfectly. There's the paranoia, there's the flash. We just have no time here if you're Furia, you gotta go! And as you do, it's Jajimo in perfect position to shut it down. Oh, you talk about your cause and effect. Baby Bay may have only had 6 eliminations, but the first blood there is everything for G2 to take map 1.
And it's not just the power and the anchoring alone for Shy. It's the fact that that presence is able to allow Furia to go for those stacks on the other side of the map, go for those more proactive plays where they're looking to fight forward.
Well, you're going to get the setup for Shy over towards C, and then early peek towards A long. A little bit of a double setup over towards Garage. Everything pretty much standard as Koala's going to get some information off the sound cues. Frenzy out, able to find one. Hot hands behind that from Basic is absolutely chef's kiss. Burned him up to a nice well done. And that's now an opportunity for Furia to take another pistol in this series.
Oh, Baby Bay was just spotted out.
Yeah, Basic set up for this one, but Artson will beat him to the punch. Leaf, last one left. Whoa, okay. Able to find Shy, gate crashing back to spawn, but this would be, well, pretty impossible, you'd think, for the 1v3.
You would think it is Leaf, though.
Cutting through. Fake teleport.
Surely not.
He has
Spike is still down, that's the problem.
40 seconds left, and Leaf has insane clutch factor.
Well, here comes the next contact, potentially up top at window. Furia just going to hold.
30 seconds left.
They back out, though, for a moment. Leaf will get the spike, gate crash back over towards C, and now he's going to have to sprint his way over, and Furia have guessed incorrectly. They think he's going over towards the A side of the map, and Leaf is going to give himself a chance.
He will. 20 HP, though, into this post plant. Basic has both curveballs, and you have a recon here for Calm.
9 shots in the ghost. Not going to happen here. Really nice setup, though, for Fury over through Garage. Goodness, that little duality play between the duelists. Perfect.
Beautiful hold, that is for certain. G2, this composition, Leaf being on that Yoru. We already got a little bit of a taste of it here into the pistol round. That opportunity to try and use those very quick gate crashes for fast repositions.
Nice! Dude, that molly, my boy, that molly! Time.
It's good to see both boys finding a little bit of vibe here on the agents that they have not played all that often.
For sure. Other thing that we didn't get a chance to address here, when it comes down to the compositions. Both of these teams pulling out the Astras as well for a little bit more of that global presence on the map, while still allowing Artzine and Valen to be these insane anchors and lurks for their teams.
If at first it doesn't succeed, try again. This time, Koalanuv has the shotgun, not going to work out. Shy still holding inside of this Nebula, though. Could potentially be a problem, but really good discipline for G2. They throw a Prowler out, helps set up another elimination. Basic will get one in response. The post-plant setup is going to be in for G2 in the 3 versus 4.
Oh, Leaf heard all those steps.
You're done.
Perfect from Leaf. And Furia, well, you could tell by where Artisan is heading that they're not all that interested in this. So once more, G2's forced purchase in the anti looking really strong.
Yeah, Basic's just going to stick around, try and farm up some orbs here for the run it back, if anything. That's why you see the Judge getting saved there by Artzine. Try to get that ultimate online a little bit earlier if possible. And yeah, perfect there in that kind of regard. But G2, man, you cannot deny the power of their stingers when it comes down to these rounds. The way that they're just death-balling together and the utility constantly so good for the space that they're looking to take, it makes it so hard to try and fight back if you're not ready for it.
Absolutely. And I mean, to be fair, at this point of where we are in the stage, like, you should expect that G2 after a pistol loss is probably still going to force if they found a couple eliminations.
I like how they ran the same shit back. I appreciate that. I really.
It's true.
He said thank you. Thank you very much.
You know, they often say, any baseball fans, you never throw a hitter the same pitch twice. And that may have been the case right there at that setup from Furia, but it will just be the Judge and a couple of pistol upgrades here for Furia in round number 3. Still largely on the Stingers, with just Baby Bay bringing the Outlaw into the picture here for G2. And Jojima will get to work on trying to match the pace that Basic has already put for the run it back.
So many rotations already being pulled here for Furia on this eco, really only having the Judge for Artzine, anchoring that C site. G2 more than happy to leave Baby Bay inserted there and not hitting those shots. It has been a cold day for Baby Bay when it comes down to those scopes.
Yeah, that's not a...
That's not typical Baby Bay,
Yeah, you're not going to see that all that often. Artisan able to stop the Prowler and put some pressure with that Judge over through C main. Artisan in a little bit of trouble, though, as there's a lot of space. Through Garage. Leaf able to jump up towards the window. Gate crashes back towards safety, but Kama is in a position to at least try to go a one-and-doneer here.
He hears everyone.
Absolutely he does. Checking the corner, though. Jojimo just jumps on over and is able to find the elimination. So 4 versus 4 situation. Spike making its way on. It looks like Basic wants to try to challenge this. Run it back's going to be spent here. Try to do it all himself for the time being, but Koalanuv up top's able to find the next pick on towards Trent. Leaf waiting patiently. Trigger discipline comes through as Basic will teleport back towards this portal. Koala will fall in the meantime. And Artisan, who's trying to make his way back over, only has the Judge, so now you got to re-enter the site of your Fury. It's not going to feel good with just the basic pistols. And Leaf on one corner. The ability to swing behind that and set up the crossfire is perfect from Jojimo. And G2 will take the round, although it is a little more labored than you would have expected.
A little bit. But granted, they still, for the most part, stuck with those stingers that they had in the last round. And the Bandits have been clean, honestly, coming out from Basic, those shots. Still keeping it competitive at the very least there into the eco. Getting those picks out from Furia, but G2 definitely feel comfortable.
Hey, it's all good, Dre. Look at me, baby. You got this. I'm about to drop you not, bro.
Hey, you want your IGL to have that confidence.
For sure you do. But it is true. I mean, Baby needs to start to connect.
He does, but at the very least, just like Vora was saying on the desk, his presence puts so much pressure on Furia alone.
Okay, well, he gets a training shot there onto the Owl drone. And you saw the freeze frames. He was close on both Outlaw shots. Those are ones you just have to shake off, but here comes the approach, stacking up towards C main.
You've got Run It Back and the Cosmic Divide available here for G2's execution. Could be a huge boon into converting this round here for G2 and breaking Furia's economy.
Well, Run It Back will be spent early. Cosmic Divide behind this, and Furia, they're going to commit to staying on the site here to try to contest this. It's bold. They're already taking some damage, but Jojimo will fall. Baby Bay behind the Blaze Wall, waits for it to fall, not quite able to find the shot. And the defense for Furia is still able to hold here. 45 seconds on the clock, the spike has gotten out. But in terms of Furia, evaluating that moment defensively, they gotta be feeling pretty good about stopping the hit at C.
We need to keep an eye on what Valent's gonna be able to do in this window position.
Oh, they don't know. Valen able to find the opener. Trade is not there, that is huge from Valen. Follow-up though from Com, shuts down the rotation in towards B. Trent trying to go a bit more unnoticed, and he's able to win the gunfight versus Com. Artisan sneaking behind the play. Oh, he doesn't finish the first! So it's down to Koala Noob for the 1 versus 3. 2 more to tally. Trent in the corner low, but Koala Noob shakes his POV away. And now this becomes that much more difficult.
It's going to be so hard to break up these two players playing contact off of each other. Looking to swing.
Swing, finds it, slips away. Now sticking. Leaf, perfect position. Never tallied, never noticed. G2 up 3-1.
Playing life there for Leaf just to ensure that they're going to win out that round. A great pivot into the mid-round there for G2. Being able to pause in the front site of C, not looking to push the issue and break into back site, retaking that space into garage, and that was just so unfortunate, man. Nearly denying that plant.
Legitimately, the mid-round in right there is pretty perfect for both teams. It's just so unfortunate for Furia that you find yourself on limited purchase and you don't have an opportunity to connect off of what was a freebie. So now you're back onto a full save. Overdrive is at the ready for Koala Noob. Quick walk down at C main here for Shy. And with a Sheriff, he could deal some damage, especially if he can get contact on the Leaf.
Shy's consistently been so good for his twos. Even just with a pistol.
Well, Com is in some trouble. He's able to get the knife out and move over. Oh my goodness, him staying alive is everything. Koala Noob just gets shut down, but the initial eliminations for Furia are perfect. They're going to get 2 weapons off of that. And you still have Shy holding on the rotation to C. This is brilliant for Furia.
Yeah, that trip is massive there for Shy. They're more than happy to leave the rest of the map open, understanding they have control of these extremities. The plant goes down on this B site. G2 need to find some picks.
If Trent gets 1, the Nightfall could still win this round for G2. No questions asked. But first and foremost, our ops team points to the right person. Baby Bay has to connect. There's no other way about it. Flash comes through, tries to hold the timing. Teleports back to safety.
Really nice pinch on this retake from Furia.
Oh, Trent gets the first. You anticipate that Shy's playing on this corner, though. Not quite, but the pressure over towards B-Main now has Shy making his move, but it's completely obliterated. Now it's down to Baby Main. He connects. Just down to Com. Oh, a huge 2 versus 4 for G2. And that takes the breath out of the lungs of Fury in what should have been a guaranteed round.
Furia are going to be kicking themselves for that one. Time out now called by Shaw. The replay of the last round, we saw him hovering over that button. It seems like he heard the call from Artzine for this next coming round, that it was solid enough. He didn't want to hit that pause, but now it's about going back to the drawing board here for Furia. They won out that pistol, haven't been able to find anything since. After putting all of that work there on that A site too with the advantages.
I mean, that's probably 4 or 5 different small moments so far through these opening 5 rounds that if one more hit comes through, you talk about the flank through B main. In this moment, Shy off of what is a perfect piece of timing to get back over towards mid window. If those little things just go through, we could be looking at a 4-1 the opposite way. But G2 are not making mistakes right now. And Furia are in a really big spot of bother.
Great calling out from Valen. The game going exactly the way that G2 wanted thus far here on Haven. Conversation here for Furia. They also have to keep in mind that Nightfall, as well as the Yoru ultimate coming into this next round. Do have a Cosmic Divide at least into the retake there for Artzine.
The only real issue with the Cosmic Divide is that the Dimensional Drift is just going to completely disrespect it. It's just... It's going to be tall here, I think, for Furia to find value, at least in this current round, based on what's available. Dimensional Drift is going to be spent immediately, though, for Leaf to get a look at B. And he's going to actually try to move his way back through, but Basic shuts that down. That is a huge first blood. Pressure towards B established, but Furia have dealt with it, largely speaking. Baby Bay just looking over towards C. The Nightfall, I believe it does connect onto at least a couple of players in the backside of the site here. So the post plant is set up, and now you have the opportunity for the Cosmic Divide to come through.
Look how they're looking to retake that garage control here as well. More pronged approaches here into the retake for Furia, but this coming out from G2, taking that control back.
Love that.
Furia have no space to work with.
Oh, but Valen, the timing of him moving in towards window was huge, and this forward pressure for G2 means the Cosmic Divide never feels confident to be dropped into the play.
Incredible.
That is brilliant.
The reactions from G2 in those moments, perfectly played. The fact that Trent's able to thread that needle past the smoke alongside Valen to take that garage control. At first it looked like Furia were gonna clear into the window, take that garage. You cannot all be flooding out through the same choke point. G2, they're this team that's so good at setting up those crossfires. You need to find more opportunities to break them up.
I have to imagine that for Furia, they're sitting there stacked because they're thinking they're gonna Cosmic Divide out C and just flood together, but Jojmo showing pressure on the back of C like that immediately counters the play because there's already post-plant defenders that are through where that Cosmic Divide would have been dropped. So now Furia are down bad. Artisan is going to deny the decoy and at least say that, yep, I'm here. Challenge me if you dare, as Koala Noob with a solo rifle will get scaled deep in towards mid with a little bit of assistance. And that's a huge first blood pick. Neural Theft going to be spent behind that, so Furia's going to have the information. That's the quick dash, though, over towards A as the spike makes its way on.
Spike will be initiated, but
really good.
Yeah, great hot hands just to deny that from even going down, buying time for this flank to come in.
Oh!
Trent's watching.
If Shy gets that pick, everything can change immediately, but now you've got the post-plant set up. Baby Bay stuck on site, though, with the operator. There's the defensive Cosmic Divide to come through. Here comes the flood on towards the site behind the Nova Pulse, and Koala Noob's able to follow up with Basic for 2. Valen only able to get 1 backside hell. Trent by himself, not quite able to deal with the numbers from Furia, and that's more like it. Furia get their second.
Nicely done there. The timing coming in from that flank, the fact that Shy just stays alive even though he doesn't initially get that pick on Trent, puts just that much more pressure on G2 into the post plant.
Huge hero rifle play from Koala Noob. It just has to continue to be noted. His improvement from Friday to today on this agent is palpable. So good.
Getting those reps in, that is for sure. But not just that, I think the fact that Furia go for a bit more of that proactive positioning, pushing out through mid, getting that information, not allowing G2 to slowly work the map, which plays exactly into how Valen favors calling.
Let's play.
Quick hit for the duelist for Furia over towards A long, and they're going to combine that with the Hunter's Fury for first blood. Blaze Wall to establish the position of control. And in an early 5v4, where you still have a run it back available, could be huge.
Operator revealed on that C site from Artsian as well. Trent still trying to pressure that A side of the map, and look at how Furia fully fallen off of that C site, knowing that they're more than happy to play that retake scenario.
Into, yep, a Cosmic Divide, and knowing that there's a tour de force. Shy stays a little bit too long. Say they could have had a position to possibly work a bit of a crossfire or a high-low for one to get out with Artisan, but the scope was really never up, and Shy dropping now completely turns this round on its head.
2 initiators into mid, about to meet.
Whoops. Trent, sound cue for 1, slides out for the second. Oh, man, and after what was a brilliant design for first blood for Furia, now you're sitting here and saving.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another one of those you have to kind of put in the back of your mind of like, if only we just stayed alive to allow the run it back retake to come through. Again, we could be looking at 6-2 the other direction easily.
And I think that is the issue that we've seen in a lot of those rounds shift is members on Furia wanting to be that hero in the round. Whether it's a little bit of an overheat or overstaying their welcome in some of these positions, and G2 looking to catch them out. Yeah, we know how good Shy has been anchoring, but the game plan was already set and in motion for that retake.
Yeah, Artisan was never in position to help out with that little peek through the Cosmic Divide. So now 6-2. Weapons are still in play, though, for Furia. Operator in the hands of Koala Noob in particular as he sets up over towards C-Long to start.
G2 stacking outside of A. An early wall to just put pressure on the cross into A short. Nobody will be taking that space.
Well, Furia are in some trouble, and they desperately need this round to come through. They still have the run it back as we listen in with Furia in here in round 9.
If anything, they're short, but
Nothing C, chill. They're putting an orb C, C's. People C. No peek, no peek, no peek, no peek, no peek, no peek.
Careful B, time.
Not out. Fake.
I'm holding short right now. I threw a dart for you.
I'm holding this right side walking. That's it.
I'm gonna have to play retake.
Pussy.
Yeah, I will. They might have an ult though. I can't repeat the line.
I'm playing retake.
Yeah, I have ult.
I'm just holding CT.
Start double. Careful default double now.
Don't expose the.
Nothing C. I see nothing C.
Careful copy.
Yeah, I know. I'm just holding. One
double.
There's have a TP.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Loading.
Nice.
One more garage. Side.
Two default. 35 on Astra. 35 on Astra.
I'm a good garage.
Careful left. I have flash.
Chill. 35 on Astra.
Art has garage, guys.
Peeking.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Making noise going garage, but I'm sticking.
Default.
Just off angles first.
Yeah! Let's go!
No, fuck this guy.
Get the off.
Not gonna lie, it's another one of those rounds that starts to get a little bit antsy, but this one gets through the finish line, and Furia able to hold on to the op, get their third, and now all of a sudden, maybe an opportunity to kind of continue to build on some of this first blood momentum that they've finding success with here in the first 9 rounds.
Yeah, that's for sure. Shy being able to get that pick on Leap and still stay alive into the Cyber Cage, just buying a little bit more of that time made a huge difference, so Basic could help out with that backside flood. Still 3 rounds to go there in this first half of Haven, though. Koala Noob, Operator online, has definitely made a difference for Furia in being able to get those deep lines so they can make those mid-round adjustments that much faster.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the biggest component right now for Furia. G2 only have 2 first bloods this half right now. So to see Furia down 3-6, considering that tally, is, again, one of those that you just feel like it's appalling, as we're going to get an opportunity for maybe a quick contact here on an A crunch. Nightfall going to be spent. Furia essentially have to try to hold within these smokes. Good breakdown of the site as Koala Noob's able to re-enter to keep the site safe. That's a really important start right now for Furia, again defensively, as G2 will back away, cut the noise, see if they can move Furia around a little bit.
Teleport's ready.
Another opportunity to also leave Baby Bay into one of these inserts.
You just... Why? You have Koala Noob here to try to help on that same angle. And Koala Noob's going to try to isolate. It's such a bold peek. Doesn't hit, but forces the teleport back. Artisan steps up, but it's not enough. Com will get one before retreating. It's an opportunity to still pull this one through if you're Furia, but they have to play out the 2v3.
Shy looking to regroup with Calm right now, trying to get a little bit of that damage off. Recon is going to be up here. We also will have a camera in just a moment for Shy. Potential to check into Hell. Do the graffiti cam instead. Not going to get that info.
No. No such luck. There's the recon bolt, but that's just a mere throw it because you have it type situation. And that's so tough. I mean, G2, it's hard to say if that was ever going to be a full commit, but Koala Noob's presence completely deters, which is great. But to see Furia get so head faked out by that little creation of space and that little creation of silence to force a pull for Basic into the waiting arms of Baby Bay is just one of those that's just like, did we really need to peek that? but starving for information. G2 keep that mental edge.
Definitely opens up that round in its entirety there for G2. Furia is a much needed save considering the fact that Basic didn't have enough to purchase up into a full weapon. Giacomo has the run it back online for himself into this next round.
Joke's over. Well, run it back's going to be spent here immediately. Giacomo with the fine first blood, and now all of a sudden Calm. Ooh, stays away from all the damage of the shorty. He could win this round single-handedly right here.
Leaf was kind of aware though. Yes, does Fake crash out afterwards?
Oh no.
Man. And that position was so important to keep that A space. Spike goes down on C. And this is a round that Furia need to win if they don't want to face that potential 9-3. Money would be broken after this round.
Yeah, they're going to have to save it.
They don't have a choice at this point.
Gosh, that's so tough. It just looked like for a moment there, Calm was going to be in a perfect position to deny some of this little mid-fake, A-fake. But G2, once more, just get this small edge in what looks to be a decent response for Furia overall. They just cannot find the picks that they need. And we're going to get an 8-3 tally here going to the last round of the half.
Such awareness of the positioning that we've seen from Furia. G2 consistently ensuring that they're clearing those out, not allowing Furia to hold that space for free. We'll head into the last round now, and when it comes down to those ultimates that are going to be available, really just the Cosmic Divide from Valen that we're looking for. Furia aren't going to have much to work with headed into this round, which is definitely making it tough.
Heading to the above.
Oh, here we go.
With concealment.
Getting some early spam from Leaf. Seeing if any damage can be tallied over to the middle of the map. Has a backup weapon because, well, the economy is very healthy for G2. Cosmic Divide at the ready. We may actually get a little bit of a show of force here at B. The setup for Furia is perfect to try to deal with this. There's the flash. Qual trying to slide with that. Relay Bolt to follow up on the space. And once more, G2 just kind of respect what Furia is showing them. Cosmic Divide was committed, but the spike will stay passive.
G2 more than happy to starve Furia of that information, consistently forcing them to cycle through that utility off of this mid pressure.
That feels like a win, though, for Furia again.
Scaling up, though, the camera's going to give this away. Valen just wants an insert to be able to hear the rotations on the right side of the map.
Okay, well, the camera will be denied.
30 seconds left.
Defense will move around right there as the Nebula was pulled back. Follow-up star placements will give the intention that's going to be a B hit. Shy is stepping up and stepping in. This comes down to, do they find the opportunity to get some connections? And now you're finally starting to get some reveals. And Furia are ripping apart G2 at the front door. No one's going to get through. Neural Theft behind it. Shy will get 3 in the round, and a flawless 4th comes through for Furia as we hit the half.
Nicely done there by Furia, shifting things around. A great push from Qualanu to get that information so that Furia could stack on that B site and getting that 4th round on the board, getting that additional space now heading into the next half. It is crazy, though, Shift, how much success G2 were able to find when Furia were the ones leading in those first engagements. And it says so much about how synergized G2 are, how well-oiled of a machine they have been over the years.
Absolutely the case. And for Furia, there's going to be some moments to reflect back on. But for now, at least you're able to get this to an 8-4 half. We head over to the break, come back, swap the sides.
Artson, you guys recently swapped to playing a lot more of the meta comps, a lot more of that double duelist. How has that helped your calling overall?
It helps a lot because it's more kind of like simple game to call and embraces with the way I like to call overall, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a lot less niche, right? It's looked great so far. I can't wait to see it in action today.
Welcome back to the action. 8-4 the half. G2 in a position of advantage for now. Furia are going to be looking back and saying woulda, coulda, shoulda, because there were a number of rounds that felt like very well easily could have been theirs. So an opportunity to try to right the wrongs as we swap the sides and head into the second half pistol.
G2, they have been so good at those man disadvantages. Just the absolute clutch factor when it comes down to these players, and when they synergize and work together in those fights, it's such a beautiful sight to see.
Basic and Koala Noob were 7-2 combined in first blood contacts. Incredible stuff. But can they do it on the attack? Leaf showing some early pressure. Will gate crash away from the curveball. Not much gain, not much loss, but G2 are looking for a very early stack up over towards A main. Fury are very aware that this could potentially be a play. Just comes down to, do you anticipate this many players to be here? And we're going to get some blood here. Here comes the contact, and it's Koala Noob for the first couple, and he wants all of it, but maybe a bit ill-advised. Jawjum able to shut that down. Looking for more, but not going to be much else to tally. 3v2 situation, Fury with the numbers, and a wide open C site.
Fury just going to hold, see what Artzine's going to be able to find on the other side of the map. Baby Bay not able to land a shot. And Leaf, here's the rotation to the C side. Should have an understanding that Artzine has lurked up. They only hear 2 steps.
Oh, they're going to follow behind. Can they find the spike carrier before the plant comes through? Everything relies on that. And Calm, I don't know if his spidey sense is tickling or what, but he's able to move over and at least get the spike planted. Good help on the way. And now it's just down to Baby Bay. Winnable. If you can find the first contact, able to cleanly find it, and then a follow-up down to the 1v1. But where has Artisan gone? Baby Bay still holding as the Nebula will fade. Now it's just down to timing. Artisan's just going to call the bluff and play the spike. Takes the swing, finds the contact, and Furia stay perfect in pistols. Now it's just down to, can you survive through the inevitable force buy that we're going to see from G2?
Something that they absolutely need to be prepared for this time around. But the refrakes coming out there from Koala Noob change everything with that triple stack over in A main. A great attempt from Baby Bay to try and rescue this round, but the patience and discipline from Artzine.
We got this shit, boys.
Perfect from the IGL here for Furia. But they also, again, you talked about it, the danger of those force buys that we're not going to see come out here from G2 on the defense, because when you're not getting that spike initiated on attack, even though you lose that pistol, don't get as much change in your pocket.
That didn't stop him on split, but not this time. But Fury are going to respect that there could be a play. I'll tell you that much.
I think the fact that it's in, 8-5 situation, G2, they don't want to take those risks at this point with how close the last map was, too.
There's a nice recon bolt. Jawjum going to try to step up with the curveball, and Koala Noob was immediately in your face.
He's definitely getting more comfortable on those entries.
I'll say. Baby Bay going to hold his position on the outside and just get slightly blinded by that Nebula up top at Heaven. So that's enough for Fury to get on towards the site. Leaf looking for timing, gets one in response, but that's not going to be anywhere near enough. And Furia will take the anti and set up a bonus.
Just to it from tying things up here and into this round as well. I'm pretty sure Koala Noob, only 2 away from that overdrive. So great possibility of getting that online into this round, tossing that rifle over to another player. But it's been such a refreshing adjustment to see from Koala heading into this Sunday.
Big time. Basic is still keeping up with what has been some really solid Phoenix play, 15-9. Now it looks like there very well may be a play for Orb Collection here because you still just have a regular old pistol for Basic at the moment. He's also 2 off a run it back, but Resource Collection a little bit more hard-pressed in this round, especially with Leaf walking down, just taking a quick peek, teleporting back to safety. And instead, G2 are going to try to feel things out at sewers here. Kowal moves in position. Haunt will come through. That will be the denial. And G2 will say, not interested. We'll just back up and know that we need to keep our heads on a swivel here today.
Just trying to put that pressure on the A side of the map up against G2. And an opportunity to insert Shy here as well. Taking down that Prowler. Just showing that additional presence. Actually going to draw the rotation of Leaf over to the A side.
It's going to be a quick hit, potentially over towards Garage. Strajimo feels the pressure, drops the hot hands, and denies the Owl Drone. So far, no entry anywhere, but Furia will make their way over behind these stars placed on the choke points to get into B and get deep into B. So now it's on to G2 to try to retake.
30 seconds left.
And you still have this lurk down A long, and that's a huge pick for Shy. So now G2 have to try to crunch this as soon as these Nebulas fall. Haunt will try to clear out the backside at Gong. No one home. The post plant firmly set up over towards mid window.
More than happy to play for that gravity well.
And you still have Shy on that potential pinch. So there's a lot of things that G2 need to consider in terms of challenging this. And they're just not going to have a chance to. G2 completely suffocated on this opportunity to try to play through B. And now they're just trying to hunt out Shy to see if they can find anything in this round because it was a absolutely perfect formula for Furia. Shy's going to make things even more difficult by connecting onto another. And that is exactly what you need if you're Furia. Bonus round comes through, you get a couple of rifles collected, and you're off to the races here in the second half.
And a very important hero rifle for Trent to be taking over into this next round here for G2. Something that we've definitely got to keep our eyes on. Furia Artzin has also just been such a menace at times as well. Like the utility that he's placing with those Astra stars has been so good in being able to find that space, stave off G2 looking for those floods with the Nebula. The Nova Pulse being able to wrestle control of those chokes.
Oh, good aggression here for Furia to deny any play for this A orb. Jawjimo is looking for it badly. But you can see the presence from Leaf, and he has to get out of there. So a huge opening shove over towards A long. Furia will once again hold the advantage over that position, but as you highlight, no info towards C, but to be fair, based on where these traps are placed, it looks like this is going to be an A execute.
I think also just the whole point of them trying to get aggressive on the A side of the map for G2 is trying to push them back into baby base scope. He's got that Headhunter just waiting on the other side of the map for that early contact.
They're going to feel it out. Only hits the shoulder. This is just a fake. Aldrone behind this play as Furia are starting to creep their way up A long. But look at this aggression from G2 down the middle of the map. Trent's able to find one. That's going to stop the play. Now all of a sudden you've got some pivot points here as Jawjimo follows. Leaf also here at window, but big counter from Artzin. This is still such a problem though for Furia. You're still feeling really stuck, and Jawjimo's going to keep the pressure on by hitting the run it back. The spam from Basic does not quite connect. And eventually the spike will find its way over towards C long.
Not a lot of time, though, here to get that plant initiated. More than happy to let that go, but G2, they're ready to flood back in quickly. Regrouping into Garage with the closer quarter weapons.
No, not able to connect with the Headhunter. Basic still holding close. Surprising to say that Furia is not even bothering with the post plant down long. They're just going to hold their ground on top of the site. Cyber Cage about to expire, and then it's going to be all action. There's G2 trying to push on through, but it's Artzin for the double. Baby Bay, Trent, last two left for the 2v2, but Artizan's looking for everything. One off for the ace. Baby Bay on the corner, able to turn it into a 1v1, but it's going to be all 5 for Artzin. The ace is tallied, and we're tied at 8.
The leader for Furia to be able to get them 5 rounds in a row now. And Artsine, you know that both him and Shy love to play in those smokes, in those cages, doing so well to catch off those G2 players. And Shaw's so grateful. He's just, thank God.
I think he's sitting there like, we're in some trouble here. Like G2 with that deep scaling defensively, you start to panic completely if you're Furia, but they handle it nicely. Run it back and be called in immediately here for Basic as Furia are not holding off by waiting at all. Balin shuts down the opener. Trent in some trouble though, just trying to keep their life. Baby Bay also in some problematic positions, and there's just nowhere to go here. Trent able to give you one nice counter flash to come through as Jawjamo's got a very aggressive Odin. And him finding a second gives Leaves a chance. He's able to find the cross. So now it's just down to the 1v1. And they very well may meet sooner than you would expect. Leaf, no! Doesn't anticipate the position. Basic connects and Furia take the edge.
Basic has been such a key part of the success here for Furia ever since stepping into this Phoenix role. Now on Haven, again, having one of those standout performances. This is probably one of the scrappiest rounds that we've seen between these two teams with the high tempo play, the fast fight here on that A site. A nice shift in that timing. And that's going to be the timeout now called here by Josh RT.
Yeah, and that's such a frustrating one to take because it feels like if you're G2, you are making a lot of really great reads and you're putting yourself in great positions. You're just not winning the gunfights that you need to. And now we find ourselves in like this really skittish position with the economy where you're kind of in and out of forced purchase rounds, for what you can rounds. You really haven't had a complete gun run, it feels like, in a while. And you're getting into the key portion of the second half where now all of a sudden you've got a plethora of ultimates that are going to be available for both sides. And if your game planning is just not quite coming through in terms of what these openers are looking like, G2 have some things to consider in terms of, do we just hold off and try to play something a little bit more responsive rather than trying to establish aggression of our own?
I think what's also difficult, just touching on the differences in composition for both of these squads here as well, is we do have the double flash on the side of G2, right? Leaf and Jawjamo. The thing is, we constantly also have those front sight smokes that are being placed down by defense, as well as the attackers to help with these fast floods, depending on what site we're seeing. And Furia, with the relay bolts for Qualinute, that's able to cover a lot of ground. But for G2, they don't really have a piece of utility that's able to do the same. You know, swapping out the Astra for the Omen for the Astra doesn't give you that paranoia. Sure, you might have the Nova Pulses, but it's really hard to get that down in those mid-fights that quickly.
Well, Baby Bay will have the tour de force out. It'll be Stingers and Sheriffs the rest of the way for everyone else on G2's defense. And Baby Bay would teleport back to a very close proximity as Leaf tries to get a bit of a feel. Doesn't see anything at C-Long. Instead, Baby Bay now has to be trusted to hold essentially by himself. A second errant shot just comes through just to make sure that no one is at the front doors at C.
Look how far pushed up Trent is. Trying to keep this space here for G2. Whatever information could be relayed, Furia very aware of the fact that G2 might go for one of those death ball approaches, might go for a little bit of that information seeking. They get impatient with these contact plays.
Well, Basic is ready to go on this little pop play over towards Garage. Jawjamo is going to be in some trouble here, but he's got a flash of his own, pops it, but Basic beats him to the punch. Now it's got to be on Baby Bay. Hits the first. That's a big slow field down over towards the Garage. It's going to allow the defense a chance to rotate over. Hunter's Fury going to be called in here for Calm, trying to open up the space, and he's able to connect once, but not the second time. Baby Bay, second opportunity goes awry. Good review on the backside of this play, but Fury just have better weapons flat out. Shy turns that into a double. Trent giving it a go, and he's almost able to take down a second, but not quite. Furia now up 10-8.
G2, it was an eco round at the very least. And they still made it a bit competitive on that site. Baby Bay gonna get that operator online here. It's so unfortunate with the timing for Jawjamo, trying to get a little bit proactive, but Basic having that exact same idea. Even unfortunate, and I think that was like the second. The second Leaf exited, actually, that dimensional drift was unfortunately when those shots connected there for Shy. But moving into this round, G2 already scaled up. Leaf walking into a lobby. The timing here, Shy's been inserted short.
Portal closed. Cutting through.
Really nice set of aggression right here from G2 for first blood. One more check and Leaf teleports out just to confirm that there will still be some presence at A lobby.
This is a risky position though for Trent. Doesn't have any support. Okay, Leaf here now.
But Koala just takes an easy peek. Blindside still at the ready, but Calm, what a absolutely brazen peek that is. Steps up, able to get another shutdown. Numbers will still hold for Furia. And the Owl Drone may not necessarily scout out Jajamo, but he's on an island and he's going to have to play this life as best as he possibly can. Blazewall will come through. This Nebula about to fade. And Jajamo is going to be stuck in the corner. That's a great hot hands. Could flush out Artisan for one, and he's able to hold down the trigger for a second. Now the run it back is going to be into play. And Calm is out of there. What a hold from Jajamo.
Good patience from Calm, knowing that Jagamo was trying to chase him on the cross. Still looking for that timing, but Valen's already made the rotation all the way to this C site.
Oh, and he's likely to hear this. Oh, Calm thinks he's completely free.
10 seconds left.
Valen will sneak up. Calm, operator in hand. Caught. What an unbelievable hold from Jagamo. I mean, initially it looks like that's just absolutely a perfect counter for Furia. Take your numbers, run through it, but heroic hold on top of the A site.
Yeah, absolutely insane with that Odin being able to spray down these players. And then on top of that, I love the re-clear up against his former teammate within Calm, chasing him into short, getting that information for Valen to make that chase over to C so the timing was clean.
Well, now you've got to run it back at the ready for basic. Odin operator in hand for G2 with a Cosmic Divide and a Nightfall to play with. If you're Furia, you want to be able to do, really at this point, anything in the first 30 seconds to keep it a 5v5. You just cannot drop in a first blood contact early.
Pressure over towards A side. And you have the exploration of mid. Leaf already hopping into window, getting control of this space. They might not necessarily fully know it yet, but with the trip on the C side of the map here as well, it's a very good understanding with Shy showing that camera that there isn't a lurk on the other side.
Yeah.
G2, Valen is so confident this is a 5-man hit.
Well, here comes the commitment. Nightfall to spend on the defensive side. Basic, not able to find the first blood. But Koala Noob is right there. The follow-up from Fury is perfect. Now comes the play around the back. Neural Theft going to be spent as Shy's going to get a relay of the land. Trent trying to hold. Now the last one standing, and Furia is going to walk away with a flawless. Great insert, great execute, and now 11-9 the count.
Isn't that insane, though? It looked like G2 had that read. They had them corralled into A lobby, and for Furia to be able to break through in that way with 4 players stacked on that site there from G2.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Nightfall is obviously connects onto just about everything, but it doesn't make a difference if you're Furia because you still have the Cosmic Divide that's blocking them from finding re-entry. You still have the Blaze Wall to give a little bit of a second bit of separation. Doesn't make a difference if you're muted up and getting caught by the tendrils. Doesn't really stop you at all. So great round for Furia. Once again, a broken situation here for G2 economically.
All eyes on Baby Bay with the Vandal. Leaf with that Guardian in hand. Playing it slow, Furia always like to take a beat on these attacking rounds when they know G2's at that eco disadvantage.
It's great first blood from Baby Bay. Doesn't really tell you a ton if you're Furia about what this setup is looking like. Oh, but Leaf looking for info at C-Long gets taken down. So now we have the 4 versus 4 situation. And because of the weapons, G2 are going to have to try to gamble stack just a little bit harder.
Lurking IGL within ArtZoon has been such an annoying force for G2 to deal with, whether it's getting those picks on the rotations or having that utility in the post plan, and even further, some of those opportunities found to insert himself. We do have the walk down from Jogamo to get this information from G2, but they're still at this weapons disadvantage.
But at least allows you an opportunity to get another weapon potentially over to help this A defense. BabyBay in the corner. Here comes the flashes. Valuing his life. Valen falls quickly, and BabyBay has been pushed off site. Post plant will be set up. Blaze ball to establish, and a good follow-up there for both Artisan and Basic. There's really nothing that Trent can do here besides try to get a couple of possible exit frags. But regardless of it, Furia are going to get to map point. Surely.
One Prowler left. You can't count Trent out.
This crossfire, there's no way he makes it through this.
It would be insane if he did.
There's no way he makes it through this. Instead, we'll grab a weapon. And that will be about it. Able to get one more. But the time will run out on this one. He's making it punishing, they'll tell you what. No exit. Basic finds the pick, and Furia get to their 12th round.
Furia looking clean in these post-plant scenarios, especially on this A site. I like the ideas that we're seeing from G2, right? It's been that constant conditioning, though. Furia are already expecting these flanks coming in. G2 have been doing it for the past couple of rounds, that mid-exploration or a push down C long, always looking for one player to go for that late wrap back around. G2, they call another timeout. And while I do like the aggression that we're seeing to get that map control, the fact that Furia is so aware of it, I would just like them to see them bolster it with like one other player. Try and catch Furia off guard. It's consistently just been one person who's made that grab, whether it's gonna be Leaf or it's been Jogamo or even I think Trent in like certain situations. But if they can play a more aggressive flank, like 2 to 3 players, could definitely be an answer there if they want to still keep approaching the retake that way on A. It's been hard for them to hold. It's been hard for them to break back through.
Yeah. They really haven't had a chance to set up any sort of a formidable either A contest because they're fighting so early, or B, an opportunity to really do much besides pull off some sort of a heroic retake. So feels like, again, like you're calling, commit to one or the other here. We're going to get a 3-man stack here for G2. Early on over to A. There's been a lot of pressure at A lobby established by G2 defensively. I imagine they're not going to stop doing that just because it hasn't been tremendously punished as of yet. But it needs to be 3 rounds in a row here. Coming off the timeout, Walden's just going to immediately slide over. Some good info, and it keeps G2 defensively pretty keen on this position, but Leaf just holds the angle, connects under the headshot, and G2 will have the early 5v4.
Huge pick to get on Koala as well. He's been so instrumental with creating this space on these sites for Furia. Using the fast lane and those relay bolts with BabyBay. Has an opportunity on this off angle.
Oh, another great connection. He's not done. Now he is. Good shutdown from Basic. We'll get a little bit of self-healing. Not a ton. And that's enough for Jogamo to peek, find the counter. And now Furia are completely stuck. I mean, Calm, he could try to pull someone out by toggling the spike, but it's really on to Shy trying to join. And actually, Calm's going to commit. Going to get the spike planted. Leaf is watching Jogamo's back. It's a deep owl drone here. And G2 will avoid the flank and just keep their focus on the front. Calm has the Hunter's Fury. Shy has worked way in towards Garage. Cosmic Divide they called here for the defense. Peek will come through, but it's a little bit too late. Shy gets caught with utility. And he is low. Jogamo's going to immediately put himself on for the defuse. Already past halfway. And there will be no opportunity here for Furia to stop this. 12-10.
2-round advantage here for Furia still, and that's why they're more than happy to hold on to that ult, especially when you know you have the Cosmic Divide to work on here for Artsin into this next coming round. G2, a huge opener, honestly, from Leaf to find the advantage for them. I think it has been tough with some of those fights because when barrier drops, Furia haven't really given them that many opportunities to find success when it comes down to those first bloods.
No, it's just been a lot of utility dumping for both sides. So the fact that we're getting one taps for the first 2 kills is just not anticipated, and it has not been a staple of how G2 have gotten away with these defensive aggressive looks. So kind of cut your losses and now reset. BabyBay going to be in some trouble here. Immediately stacked up inside this Nebula.
You are divided.
Kato Divide will come through. BabyBay a couple of shots, teleports back towards safety. Retake tools, not much. I mean, you have an Odin in hand for Jojimo as well, so I mean, this is going to be a really hard retake for G2.
One flash available. You do have a haunt here as well.
Well, need people to find the opener. Here comes the Hunter's Fury early, very early, but it's finding connections. First will fall. Qualinoob taken out of the picture, though. Now the post plant is purely over to C long for Furia, and Jojimo could potentially just hold down the trigger and let it rip. Shock darts bounced over towards the spike. Valen able to find Calm. Pressure onto the spike now. Have to try to find a way to hold this. Cyber Cage, disrespected, push through. Jojimo going to hop on for the fuse already to halfway. Artisan able to find one. He kills the spike diffuser, finds himself a second. It's a 1v1 with Trent. Time is coming down to the wire. Artisan will find the connection. And it's a 13-10 for the Red Bull clutch. And Furia take us to map 3.
I gotta say though, BabyBay, the second that Valen gave him that little pep talk, bought him that operator, he was starting to hit those shots, warming up into it. Cold over on Split, but heating up over on Haven. Let's see if he can be full force BabyBay now on Breeze.
Yeah, it's got to be there. I mean, because as much as a couple of op shots do hit, it's still, like the test was mentioning, been very well countered by Fury to staying away from those opening first blood points of contact. So we'll see what we get. G2 will be on to the attack. Shock dart at the front, trying to deny early traps, but the setup for Shy is in the corner. And he's got a spy cam still to play off of as this opening wall starts to come through. Now the cam's deleted. Trap wire will be deleted on top of that. Shy trying to navigate through this cyber cage. Able to stay alive for now, looking for the sound cues. Now it's just a scare contact as Valen will find first blood, and the spike will be planted behind it.
Furia, all 4 players retaking through CT arches. Able to cross over to half wall at the very least.
There's the harbor wall. This rotation through mid from Leaf needs to start to show up. Basic on the back. Trying to work their way back through, but it's just not enough. Basic now the last one standing nowhere to go. G2 able to get themselves on the site comfortably. Post plant set up beautifully, and the pistol for the first time goes to G2.
Nicely done there by G2. The scale up over at B. Furia. When it comes down to how we're gonna look at how they want to play this defense, it's a very kind of different setup from what we had seen previously, having the Neon in the mix instead. A lot more of those opportunities for trap plays here for Furia.
Gotta keep in mind the track record for Furia in this map has not been good. Most recently, blown out by EG. Furia on pistols, hard stacked over towards A main. BabyBay, outlaw out. This is the opening shot. Basic able to turn that into first blood for Furia. And now it's just about trying to guard or juggle this weapon back to see if G2 can at least hold some sort of advantage in the arsenal.
Don't want to give anything away for free. Qualinoob hears Leaf. Taking the timing. I like this.
Problem is, there's still a trademark in the way. It just comes down to, can you find this contact? Nearly, but Leaf gets the win. We'll go 4v4, and that puts pressure here defensively on Furia, who are going to be a little bit shorthanded on the B side of the map.
Unfortunate there, too. A bit of a classic moment, just having that Ghost come out on top.
Here. Not your best.
There you go. Cove will come through for Art. And BabyBay will teleport away to safety. This will eventually finish on to B. Shy is well outside of any defensive picture here, so feels like this will be a pretty comfortable post plant, and Furia very well may just sacrifice their lives to the spike once they eventually rotate over. Unless you get a win here on BabyBay.
Camera does go out from Shy. Maybe he's able to tuck away from it, but not willing to take that angle.
So, yep.
Playing for exit.
Sit here and wait for maybe an exit. Otherwise, a little sacrificial kumbaya towards the spike. Comfortable start for G2 to this point.
It definitely is. G2, again, they're this team with the core of Trent and Valen. Ever since missing Masters Madrid back in 2024, they have yet to miss an international event. They want to make a statement here in play-ins. Very much so. Leaning into the strengths of this roster, moving away from the double duelist meta, making sure everybody is as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the finish up of this season, G2 are still in a really comfortable position with their champions points. This is more about, can you find a way to get to playoffs and establish that you're not just going to be like a free ticket and you're actually going to be a formidable force, figuring that they're likely going to find a way to get to the event. So to see them go to 2 really tight finishes against Furia and now a third map doesn't necessarily bolster a ton of confidence for the time being in this current identity of staying away from the double duelist, but still some time to play with here, especially in this map 3.
It's been so difficult for BabyBay to find anything with these attacking sighted scopes. Again, continuing to hit on how prepared and drilled Furia are in looking to deny him any of those opportunities to get picks.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Well, you already have the early play coming through for Basic, who does turn that into 2. Valorant and John thought that they were prepared for it, but the immediate high tide comes out and allows Basic to isolate, and he essentially 1v3s G2 on the site. So now it's down to Leaf and BabyBay, who are committed to staying on for now. And with an Outlaw, it's not the weapon you want, as Leaf only is able to take 1 with him. And Furia will get a really good response here in their first full purchase in round 3.
BabyBay just wants to chip right away at a little bit of damage if possible, but man, we talked about Furia, how they didn't look good on this map previously with their old composition. Very much so like the vanilla comp on... Okay, hold on.
No, it's fine. You can keep going.
Okay. Listen. I like to inject a little bit of faith in there. Regardless, give BabyBay a little bit of that respect. But as I was saying, the composition here for Furia, they were running like that bread and butter, old style Breeze comp with the Harbor in instead of a Viper. Now this look where, again, we know that Koalanoob wants to be on this Neon, but not just that. Keeping Basic consistently on this Phoenix on every single map has been such a boon for them. He was playing the KO previously. Yes, insane on that agent too, but the way he's able to just enable himself in the server has made so much of a difference for Furia in opening up rounds.
Absolutely the case. It doesn't just come by effect of the Phoenix, but we're also, again, just to really hit the point here, Koalanoob being set up to get more comfortable on the Neon has been a key success point, but hold the phone for a moment. Furia's going to get some early contact here at A main. And they're only going to find 1 in the exchange. This will be a very formidable post-plant setup. Com will always be in a position to try to get some sort of a challenge here, but it's a lot of free space. This comes down to, does G2 actually want to take it or not?
Not quite yet. Waiting for that rotation at the very least. Calm getting 1 is big.
Absolutely it is. I mean, now BabyBay is trying to hit a little bit of a mini pinch here with the op out. Not going to find the angle. So now you've got pressure established over towards the opposite side where the spike is not even down yet. Good reveal able to come through. And you get a connection from BabyBay simultaneously as Trent lands the shot onto Koalanoob. So now just down to Shy. 1 versus 3.
Spike planted.
Could contest from yellow. He's able to get the first info. Clean. Now to the 1 versus 2. You know that BabyBay teleported back, but to where? Here's the next swing. Sees the cape.
Knows he has to get Trent first.
Gets the isolation he wants, but cannot find the shot. Trent will save the round, and G2 will be up 3-1.
Really nicely done by G2. The fact that they pause front sight, tapping that spike, goading the likes of Furia into their waiting arms to be able to take those fights together. Well played.
Weapons will be a little bit hard to come by in this round for Furia. Operator out for Baby Bay. Hunter's Fury at the ready for the attack for G2. And they are currently set up for something early at elbow, maybe potentially in towards B. The deep spy cam will be immediately deleted. And Furia will instead just kind of take a small moment of aggression to collect the orb at A. So should just be down to 1, 2, 3, go. And it is. Hunter's Fury out early. Trent able to connect, and that's enough to take Shy out of position. Koala Noob with a classic is, well, just hoping for kind of a, I would say a one-and-done position, but if he wins the battle, maybe he can get a weapon. That's a big if, and it does not come through. So G2 will have their full force post plant. Furia just doing what they can to try to put some pressure on it. Maybe they can catch one here. Nice relay bolt to counter the flash. Com gets one through mid, but everything else will fall, and G2 will comfortably get their fourth.
Yeah, gonna have to go and save this weapon here for Com. They're not gonna allow him to do so, chasing him down. G2, these executions onto site looking really nice thus far. Furia, the problem that we're seeing right now, especially on the left side of the map, is because they want to deny those early peaks from finding anything from Baby Bay. Because they want to deny those early peaks to Baby Bay, they're giving a lot of respect right now on defense. They're not getting into positions on the left side up into elbow to contest that space, put that pressure on G2.
Well, here we go. Quick hit through mid for the first time. Fast lane out. You also have the Toxics trained up. The Cosmic Divide behind it. Basically the first one to drop. High Tide trying to contest some spaces. Furia will disrespect the Cosmic Divide to at least be in a contestable position on A. This comes down to will there actually be a commitment. We've seen G2 do this before, where they show force and then don't fully commit. They try to catch Furia in that second layer. Artson will have the Cove to try to re-challenge this angle, and Comms able to tally another elimination, but the trades are still coming through. Now it's down to will Judgment actually try to chow this outright, because there's not enough space to plan at the moment. Valen will commit.
Spike planted.
Koala Noob waiting for this Cove to fade, and is deciding which weapon he wants. And they're eventually going to get Shy back on towards the site for this 3v4 retake.
Fast lane available to provide a little bit of cover here.
That's a really nice timing for the recon bolt. Once again, just stalling things out. Here comes the slide forward. Baby Bay able to connect up close and personal. Second opportunity denied as Koala continues to go back and forth. Pressure on towards the spike for Artson for the 1v2. Valen just throwing shoulders, eventually commits and finds the pick, and it's a 5-1 tally to G2's attack.
Furia still scratching their heads, looking for answers into those retakes. They are making it close in some of those moments, but the pressure that G2 has put on them, the fact that majority of that round, Shy felt the need to stay anchored on B exactly because of those pump fakes that you were talking about, where they take that front side control, have to rotate back around, and it makes it so much harder for Furia because they don't have their numbers when G2 look to fight forward.
Yeah, and now there's going to be a conversation, I think, kind of surrounding what exactly this defensive setup is going to evolve into. It's going to be pretty much no purchase in this next round for Furia, so this is about extending into the backside of this first half. And I think some of the conversation point has to kind of be really, it's one of two camps. Either you talk about this passive setup at B that, to be fair, like G2 has shown us more kind of towards this A point than anything else. So do you try to get maybe a little bit extra space by stepping aggressively through B if you're Furia, force G2 to be in a little bit more of an uncomfortable position, rotating into A? Or the other point of conversation I would have to imagine is about what exactly are we doing for this A main contest, which has kind of been here and there, kind of 50-50. It hasn't really been as convicted as maybe Furia were hoping for initially. And it looks like just based on the early trapwire setup, we're going to get a very unique look here for Furia, although again, it is just pistols.
Yeah, shifting over to the B side. I think that once we do see the rifles come back into play here for Furia, I do wonder if they have that switch up there once again. Try to use that conditioning to their favor. Are tools for Fury to work with if they can find somehow an advantage into this round, especially with the overdrive there for Koala Noob. We've seen him getting a lot more confident on this Neon as time goes on.
Well, Art will commit the Cove to get the Reckoning earned with that orb. Walk down at mid. Calm holding the angle with the Sheriff.
Taking a lot of time to re-clear this space, G2. Don't want any surprises if they opt for this B hit.
It's going to eventually end here. It just comes down to, can they find a good first point contact to make this a little bit easier? Spy cam comes through for the elimination. Fast lane now up. Koala Noob trying to hold best he possibly can, and he will be able to take down one. That's a lot of space. He can stay alive in this position. G2 a bit split, but a nice shot from Leave, and he turns that into a massive second. So now 4v2 situation. Basic left on an island. Help is on the way, but it's coming slowly.
30 seconds left.
Definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place here for Basic. Trying to find anything.
Shots.
The Bandit has always been so kind to him.
Last player standing.
Well, G2 will not allow it to have a second level of kindness. Spike's still not planted yet.
10 seconds.
Art? Oh, if he hits that, maybe a chance to still hold, as that would have been the spike carrier, but not the case. G2 take the round.
And now this is where we're going to look to see adjustments out from Furia. Rifles back in hand here. A lot of respect, again, that has been given on the defensive side thus far by Furia. We never really see them contesting into that mid control. It's constantly been G2 who are more than happy to walk up.
It's because of the op.
And that's been part of the conversation.
They just can't afford to peek this knowing that the operator's in hand. It's just too much of a risk. So G2 will take that advantage through mid once again. Aldrone scouting out over towards A main. Overdrive's already out here, and Basic, who was trying to play off of his flash, will be punished. Jajamo low, but still alive and kicking. 5v4, and look at the deep scale up. You've already got Leaf as a pivot point position over towards top mid. And G2 will once again take their numbers and reset.
Koala scaling up forward, just she sees the elbow there of Valen. That's going to be the green light here for G2. Shift over to the B side.
Oh, but that's enough information for Shy to move his setup around just a little bit. You have to keep in mind the Reckoning is still available to block things out through tunnel. Calm also has a Hunter's Fury to make this point of ingress more contested. High Tide comes through. Shy over the top. Freebie for him, make it 2. But the trades are even. Numbers will still hold with G2 in the post plant. Viper's Pit is out. Hunter's Fury coming through, but it's a little bit late. Can you still find the elimination? Yes, you can. And they almost connect onto another. Koala Noob trying to work his way through the pit.
It's about to be dropped in a bit.
It sure will be. So the clearance comes through. Now it's just down to how do you break down this post plant on the backside of this B site. Here comes the check. Calm able to find the first. Just down to Leaf for the 1v2. First contact is not clean, but he's able to win it. Time now becoming a bit of an issue. Shock dart in and out. Leaf trying to stay alive, but it's Calm who forces the issue, finds the pick, and Furia get their second.
Finally here, Furia, a much needed round to be able to pick up. Looking to be able to continue to build that economy back. G2 have had them on the back foot in that kind of regard. I definitely agree with what you're saying when it comes down to the pressure that Baby Bay is putting on Furia, having that operator online, not wanting to contest into mid. There are layers of utility that can be used, though, whether it's a fast lane, an early Cove. The Cove refreshes so quickly. It's the fastest smoke to refresh in the game right now. Just to deny that ability for G2 to scale early.
Yeah, and if you're Furia, you continue to use this Cove to at least put some presence onto A main, but committing a fast lane to try to win out mid is not valuable, I think, for Koala Noob, knowing that he's got to use that for potential retakes. G2 showing force at A. It's nothing but a fake. The surge will come through. Fury able to once again push back G2. The Reckoning gets called behind this, though. So a huge tool off the table automatically as the Cosmic Divide will be spent over towards B. Spike is leaning that direction, but there's still a lot of traps involved, and Koalanub, who is looking for timing, kind of in the same way he was in the round previous, will be punished this time, and it's another 5v4 for G2.
Neural Theft is available here for Shy. If Fury can somehow find a pick later on, that could be important to this round. My eyes have to be on Basic with how good he is at getting those ones. Getting that run it back online would be massive in this disadvantage.
This is a lot of trust in the Furious setup that Shy can hang. Calm triggers a trap at elbow. Trent will steal the orb, and he may show a little bit of presence here at A. See if he can keep this defense split. Meanwhile, though, the hit's on the way. Calm able to deal with the first. Shy brilliantly gets the second, but Leaf shuts it down. Follow-up, not there. Neural Theft now going to be spent. And you're going to know for a fact here, if you're Shy, you just have a 1v1 in front of you. Cam comes through, and you get the dart off. Valen just trying to stay alive, but Artson finds the tally. Just down to Trent. 1 versus 3, caught trying to play through the high tide, and that's enough for Fury to get a couple in a row.
Great adjustments out for Furia there. And it's something as simple as Calm walking down, putting that pressure on elbow. Made G2 feel like they kind of had to press that go button, especially with the fact that Trent was already investing that utility to bait out that A side of the map and draw those rotations out from Furia. And the collapse ends up being so good because the anchors are just able to tear them down on the entry. Those holds from Shy have been so important.
A full purchase still available for both teams here in round number 10. Once more, the Cove is placed by Furia trying to challenge A main, but this will be the first time because of that extra little bit of aggression with both duelists. We're going to actually see Furia trying to maybe step up and clear some space at mid early. Maybe they will show presence at B after getting tagged. And Furia will have this stack at mid pretty comfortably in hand.
I'll drone out into elbow here for Furia. Gonna spot out the trademark. Now, Furia, they know that Baby Bay is lurking on the B side of the map. Operator in hand. Nobody's gonna give him a peek quite yet. Everyone else on G2 has grouped out outside of A.
Oh, and just a little bit of a early toggle from Art.
What?
Nearly able to turn that into 2. Basic following up, does have the run it back, but is committed now to playing on top of the site, and he's going to have help from Koalanub. Shorty out. That's enough to take care of Trent. And that is a really good hit on the run it back. As Baby Bay will be left in what would have to be a 1 versus 4 with no spike in 30 seconds, and that's going to be a 4th round, 3 in a row for Furia.
But look at how much more comfortable the calling looks now here for Furia. The fact that G2, they aren't able to just completely scale up into mid, walk up elbow, take that control and space for themselves, getting that pressure into tunnels. It makes all of the difference. It changes the pace here for G2. And it's exactly what we were wanting to see in that kind of regard. Now for Furia, it's worked out nicely in mid, but G2, they have an understanding that that space is now being contested. It's up to G2 to find that answer back, clear out that space, and not allow Furia to be comfortable contesting.
Yeah, I have to imagine that coming off this timeout here, you're probably going to see that operator presence most likely start at mid again. But honestly, if you're G2, that's not even really been, I think, the biggest issue. A lot of it has been you haven't been able to get yourself together with this setup to actually give the full execute that I think you want onto A so far. And I don't really know if it's anything in particular that's really kind of hiccuping them, but it's just the fact that we haven't seen that same breakdown that we had in the opening rounds where you had fast lane, you had Viper's Toxic Screen come through, you're able to open up so much space onto the immediate part of A that you want. And maybe just get back to what was working if you're G2, because these last 3 rounds have felt maybe a little bit too cute, if anything.
It's been awkward, for sure. I think when you're putting all of your players into A main, you have the lurk on the other side of the map there from Baby Bay. Definitely makes it that much harder. We'll see what Josh RT is calling here for the side of G2 into the next round, but yeah, that A site, you really need to be able to have that presence in through mid door as well to cause that disruption. Otherwise, the entirety of the defenders, in this case Furia, are able to focus their forces on the front side.
Well, here we go. Different look here for how Fury want to potentially challenge A main. Basic holding onto the curveball. Koala Noob right behind him. Aldrin will come up first, and this should be, toss the screen up, get your info, toss your fast lane, and go. Hot hands down, Jawjamo able to right through Basic, no problems there. High Tide comes out, but the Hunter's Fury is enough to at least break down part of this backside of the site, and Jawjamo will just be inserted while G2 once again get your first blood and reset elsewhere.
And that's why you have Shy consistently anchoring on the other side of the map, being able to catch him off guard here. Calm's gonna go down.
Yeah, this round just flat out over. Shy, what do you got for us? Got decent layering of these traps. Playing the same pop-up position he had from a couple of rounds ago. Jumps the wall, hops over to his cyber cages. Koala Noob was able to deal with the lurker of Jawjamo. Shy able to find the first couple. If he gets the third, there's a very real world that this could come through. But now it's just down to Koala Noob on the late rotation back in.
Will he be able to do it in the 1v2? He's gotten so much better on the Neon as the days have gone by.
He's got some tools to play with. Does he get any early information?
The timing.
Clearing close. And Leaf will have him on the longer angle. Big round for G2, and I love that call off the timeout. Just go back to what was working before, show that early pressure today with a heavy hit utility. You get your first blood. This time, it's a little bit different because Jawjamo is able to get deep past the defensive line, but the same recipe that was working in the very beginning of this map is starting to come through for G2 again.
Not able to contest as heavily on that A main either, because we did also see that Artzine was being pulled over to take that nest positioning, allowing it to just be the double duelist, holding that side of the map. Final round of this half now. And you've got a revisit over towards the B side.
Look at this is the first time we've had a big hit initially over towards B. Artzine able to find an important first blood into Jawjamo and then find a second on the cross. Reckoning's going to be earned with that. The Leaf shuts down Shy, leaving Art by himself, but that might be all you need. He sees the barrel of Baby Bay, looking for everything. It's just down to Art. Can he find a second ace in this series? And he knows that Trent's outside the picture now, especially as the reveal comes through. He wants it. He's hunting for it. He's going to give it away, though. And it'll be a 7-5 half. Brilliant bounce back for Fury considering how the map started.
Great adjustments coming in from Furia on the defense. Those retakes were looking clean. They start to disrespect that space. They're taking those moments to be proactive, to take that map control for themselves, to make the mid-rounding a bit more easy.
Nice, bro, these guys hit me, bro. This dart for me, drum for me. Bro, motherfucker.
What the? That seems like an appropriate time for us to go to the halftime break. It's 7-5. Swap the sides. We'll be right back. Fury take 4 of the last 5 to get us to a 7-5 count as we swap the sides to see what Fury have to offer here for their attack. This is, again, just to kind of paint the picture. This has been the weaker side for them in this double duelist setup that they've just incepted on Friday. But throughout today so far, it's been better. Just comes down to now, when the cards start to fall, can you come through, clean up some of the mistakes that we saw throughout the first 2 maps, and get this thing back into your name. Starts here with the pistol. Let's get it on.
Even in that replay that we saw, just a preview from Shy before we got into this first half, he was complaining about how much G2 were investing in clearing him out as that anchor. We got to see if they're also going to be prepared for the lurking positions he's going to be in now on the attack.
Well, here's the stack up. High Tide fast lane comes through. BabyBay not able to connect onto the first shot. Help is nearby for Jawjamo. Just comes down to can they hold these positions while the rest of the defense tries to rotate back over to the middle of the map, and the answer is absolutely not. Artson is able to pick up right where he left off in the first half with the opening two.
Spike planted.
VALORANT, only one on site thus far. Trying to find an opportunity to move on to site. This re-clear into elbows getting dicey.
And Leaf will be shut down. VALORANT gets on towards site, but he's a little bit stuck at the moment. Gonna put some pressure on towards the defuse. Basic over the jump wall. Tagged, but still healthy and fine. And it's on to VALORANT with 11 HP. Not gonna happen. And I'll tell you what, Furious Pistols look great in this series. That's impressive to note, especially considering that through stage 2, G2 was the best pistol team in America.
Furia have been putting in the work in the server. I feel like on Thursday, we were talking so much about, yes, they do look like they're improving. They finally got their first win. But into today, it feels night and day when it comes down to those micro moments. The macro has made an adjustment as well, but just being able to layer that utility efficiently so that Koala Noob isn't too far ahead of it, it's been beautiful to see.
BabyBay once again teleports back early, dealing with some early pressure at B main. No commitment here, at least not initially. G2 will have this high, mid, low stack right here on the steps of elbow. And there may be some saucy contact here. G2 come away with an even exchange. VALORANT runs out of, I'll say the last bit of ammunition, but Trent follows. An individual 1v1 gives BabyBay a chance to isolate, and now it's a 1v2, but Kama is full health with a Bulldog against low health pools with just pistols.
Has essentially a full kit to work with here as well. Not going to use it in these moments because he doesn't want to give away that position.
One enemy remaining.
That'll work. Now he knows for a fact that there's plenty of space to plant. And it's just down to can Trent hit the shot. Com's going to give himself some space over through arches.
I like this reposition here. Dart available for Trent as well. Both of them. This should be unlosable for Com with the utility he has in his pocket.
Trent's taking his time. And he will have guessed incorrectly in this 1v1.
The positioning of that spike is perfect as well because he couldn't see it from tunnels, so there was no inkling of it being planted actually for CT. That's why you see the wrap back around into main, expecting it to be a little bit of a different scenario. More than happy now to dive that spike.
And there it is. Com will find the final shot needed. Red Bull clutch comes through, and Furia tie us up at 7 immediately. Now this bonus is going to feel a little bit lighter than you'd like, but they'll still be able to purchase and try to get a third one through and take the edge.
Slowly working up. But for Furia, being in this third map, tied up 7-7, considering the season that they've had thus far, starting off so strong off the back of Koala Noob's operator prowess on those scope weapons to win out on kickoff.
Ooh, quick contact almost on the way as BabyBay has to rendezvous back over towards B tunnel. The pressure from Furia is palpable at the middle of the map, but you saw that little peek from Trent. He understands that this double doors play very well, maybe right at the gate. You still got some pressure from Jawjamo over towards A main, so you feel pretty decent about your opportunity to isolate here at mid.
That deep line just gives G2 so much information. The Shy's position also going to be key. The re-clear here perfect from Trent. The Owl Drone to sniff that out.
Oh, nice pre-fire to come through. And you get info that Art's still playing at mid as well. But I was to say, if you're Furia, you kind of have to commit through B main, knowing that you just don't have any sort of a follow-up at mid. But instead, it's just going to be an orb grab. And then a track back over where they catch Baby Bay looking for info before this tunnel hit comes through. So now you've got the high tide up. Leaf able to find one before that hit comes through tunnel. But you got to do a lot more than that. Valent's able to find Koala Noob in the corner. And all of a sudden, now the crunch is in as the long play from Jawjamo can be a part of it. Leaf still hanging on the backside of the site. Basic doing what he can, moving quickly. 15 seconds. He's got to go a little bit faster than that, though. As he tries to make a play for the plant, Jawjamo's flank will come through, and G2 take the round, shut down the bonus.
Heading into the next one. Hey, they lost that bonus round, but now with the bye, you have that Reckoning, as well as the Hunter's Fury online here for Furia. Cosmic Divide could be a key piece there for Valorant to rescale for the retake on the side of G2. But great recipes for success on an execution in Furia's arsenal at the moment. Good combinations that you can have, the Reckoning and the Hunter's Fury. Huge zoning ultimates in their own rights.
Well, it's completely even purchase for both these two teams, not just in weapons, but also some of the light armors that had to be purchased in. Furia not showing much aggression across the map, although Shy will be in a nice position at elbow here to at least stop any defensive rotations through tunnel, as it looks like there's going to be at least some sort of an effort at A, if not a full commitment here.
Drone's not going to spot anything front sight here for Calm, and it's going to be the Hunter's Fury being ripped. A perfect tag with the drone.
Can you find the connection, though? Yes, you can. Trent falling is critical, but the defense is still on site. Leaf holding over towards the left pyramid. Koala Noob trying to contest yellow. High tide about to expire. The defense has a Cosmic Divide to work this retake if they so choose. Baby Bay being held though at mid. Here comes the quick play from Jawjamo. Reckoning will be there, and it connects at the exact right moment. Koala Noob, an easy follow-up. Valen gives you one through mid. And hold on a second, this lurk that's on the way from Shy needs to get here maybe a little bit sooner because you've got G2 back on towards site, but Basic deals with it before you need Shy at all. Huge shutdown. Furia take the first gun round.
It is insane how snappy Basic's aim can be in those moments. Great investments when it came down to the ultimates to help Furia scale up on site. Very nicely done to push past G2's utility, ensuring that they could also flood past Artsy and Smokes themselves, not allowing G2 to scale onto backside comfortably.
There we go, quick action here. Both of the Neons just dashing right by each other. And it's Furia who come away with the first two kills. Not stopping. Great counter flash on the backside of the play to make sure the third one's tallied cleanly. I was going to say this is a really important moment in this map 3 as Furia not only have an eco advantage, but they're going to have an opportunity to build some key ultimates, and they're going to earn both of them with that last pick right there from Koala Noob. Basic off the run it back. Koala Noob with the overdrive. As a very valuable round for Furia, only dropping one in the process.
You can just see, again, how much more confident Koala Noob looks in the server right now on the Neon. Like, yes, we did see him getting hyper-aggressive at times when he was still trying to get a handle of the Asian, of the pacing that it brings to the table. But it feels so measured now in this series, and he's definitely feeling good with that little replay of the reaction there from Koala.
Yeah, that was more of the, a little windy in that long-range shot to top mid. But now, like you mentioned, the run it back is at the ready. Valen still holding onto the Cosmic Divide for the defense, but that is the only ultimate tool right now for G2. Baby Bay does have the scope up, though, and he will be holding the hard line initially at A main. But his only backup is Jawjamo. So as Furia starts to set themselves up, the Owl Drone plus the Flash will have Baby Bay looking for maybe a second chance. And he connects onto Basic. That will stop the initial play. Can he find anything beyond that, though? Help is on the way. All of this control for Furia is largely just can they work their way in to find a first blood, and they find Jawjamo. Koala Noob with the overdrive out. Able to find more as he gets himself a couple. And Furia will have absolutely the freest post plant we've seen yet.
What an insane entry there from Koala Noob. After it feels like Baby Bay was shutting that down with that pick on the Phoenix.
Oh!
They're still looking. Artsy, great flick onto Trent.
Well, lethal trade, but he is in survival mode right now. And Furia is going to get to double digits. Initially, when Baby Bay hits that opening shot on the basic, you may have thought like maybe Furia just kind of hit the brakes here because you're not getting the space that you initially wanted. But behind a fast lane, an overdrive, and a high tide, that's all you need to clear out A. And the commitment works out beautifully for Furia.
Not just that, I think that the Storm Surge to push Baby Bay off that angle made a huge difference there into that pinch so that Furia could actually look to crunch onto site and take Jogamo out as well. Everything just landing perfectly there for Furia when it came down to those utility combos.
What a round from Furia. What a round from Furia.
Look at this. Incoming G2 timeout.
Yep. Sniped. And now it's panic time all of a sudden for G2. I mean, you are feeling very similar to how things are going on Haven, where it's just your defense has not been able to find the opening success that you want in some of these forward choke points. You're not really able to put yourself in a position to fully contest the spike plant, but because you're kind of half committed to all of those two things, you're also dealing with low number situations when you eventually have to play retakes. So it feels like this is one of those conversations that is an echo of what we just talked about on Haven a moment ago.
I think what's really interesting too is when it comes down to that A site hold from G2, very reliant on just having that toxic screen cutting off front site for Leaf, allowing them to hold back of pyramids. But we also still have Valen on that Astra. I have not felt that global presence from the Astra here on defense quite yet, providing that support with Nova Pulses, grab wells to be able to be a part of some of those trap plays that G2 want to make work in front site. You see the adjustment now, Valen playing on that A site, being able to bolster that a little bit, shifting Baby Bay over to mid to be that presence.
He's also the only one with a long-range weapon, which could be part of the reason why.
Absolutely. The hero rifles have been insane at times. Previous maps, it had been Trent who had that in his hands, and he was able to make magic happen.
It just feels really uneasy right now for G2 defensively. A little clearance over towards elbow. Furia just making sure that they're not going to get caught off guard by something strange. Spike will be picked up, and with a minute remaining, we'll finally get an idea of what Furia have in mind for the round.
Depending on how the round swings, there could be really sick potential to use that Viper's Pit and Cosmic Divide to look to convert this into a 9th round there for G2, giving an opportunity for these Stingers to find better angles, get into that pit, and find some sort of advantage.
Valen will recognize the hit is at A main at the moment. We'll follow up with another star placement behind this, but once again, fast lane, high tide come through. And with a Stinger, you can really only contest so much if you're Valen.
30 seconds left.
We'll soak up the Storm Surge. Good reveal behind this, though, for G2's defense. Jojamo still holding on the top of the pyramids. There's no spike being planted as of yet, but a shock dart lands. A follow-up angle from Qualnoob is good for one. Make it a second. And Furia should casually be able to tally their 11th round here.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen there. The 11th round for Furia, heartbreaking there for G2. They have a bye into the next round. There is going to be Tour de Force available for Baby Bay. Huge ultimates there as well. But it's one of those situations where how many of those ults are going to need to be used for them to find that success? They've only gotten a single round thus far on the defensive side. It has been winning out the anti-eco versus the bonus. Otherwise, Furia have been more than firmly in the driver's seat.
So which layer of defense do you choose to invest into if you're G2, and what is a must-win round coming up here? Do you try to set up something aggressive to take away space early and you hold that space? Do you try to play some sort of a contest off of the execute that you eventually read from Furia, or are you just going to try to bank off of playing retake with some of the ultimates you have? Baby Bay, first and foremost, will have the Tour de Force at mid. You have to be cautious here. This trademark is the only thing keeping him safe from a play on elbow. He's able to find the information. Hunter's Fury going to be called in here very early, and Com's going to use that to take care of Leaf. That's your sole defender on Beast. Now the high tide comes through. Shy's going to stop the rotation through mid. Oh, it's gone completely sideways for G2.
G2 in a 3v5 situation. It's been a rough half for them thus far. But we also know how good they can be when they're down in numbers. Sometimes that pressure is all they need to make a diamond. Furia giving a lot of respect still with the pop execution here onto the B site. Trent, Hunter's Fury in hand. He has to stay alive. But Furia have also been really good at contesting that space, pushing into tunnels, pushing into arches, looking to deny the comfort in the retake there from G2.
Shock Dart softens up Arts in just a touch, but you just have to go for this. I feel like if you're G2, fast lane out, here comes the cross. Hunter's Fury will be called here for the defense. Jawjamo's got to be the one to go hunting. He's able to get some space to clear things out, but Basic shuts him down. And then the follow-up through Arch is just brilliant from Koalanu. Baby the last one left, and there's just nothing he can do in this moment. Make matters worse, Koalanu's trying to disrespect him in his face. But regardless of how it unfolds, the 12th round will be tallied for Furia. They are on match point, trying to surprise G2 and send him to the lower bracket.
My eyes are down. 1 round away from getting into that upper semifinal where they could face, or would face, either the winner of EG versus C9. G2, though, have 4 opportunities to take us to an overtime. Or need 4 rounds. Meanwhile, Furia have 4 opportunities to actually close this map out.
Yeah.
Is more so what I meant to say. The last time these two teams faced off was in kickoff. Again, when Furia knocked G2 down to that lower bracket, and Furia's been this team that was struggling throughout stage 2.
Oh, quick action here. Koalanu had the op out and nearly got a first blood, and at the same rate, almost got first blooded in his own right. But Jawjamo will just find the quick rotation to elbow with the overdrive out. Viper's pit to block off B main. And G2 will be trusting that Baby Bay. With Valen can hold on to A for now. This Fury just kill noise.
More than happy to starve G2, knowing that they don't have that passive information. Not even a trademark available here. And blocking off the vision of doors there makes this that much more uncomfortable for G2. Really relying on that deep line of mid that Baby Bay was holding with the operator.
Yeah, here we go, Baby Bay. What do you got for us? Teleport will be close by. Cove gets reinforced. And the no-scope connects! Huge first blood. He's going to have to do maybe possibly more than that, though. Toxic screen, spam through. Basic finds the counter. Valen in the setup towards Pyramid only gets 1. Q on towards the spike. Trent nearby, but only with the Bulldog. Tries to avoid the recon bolt. Double swing comes through, but Trent stays healthy. Shy in some trouble here at mid. Good relay bolt to come through, and that's enough for Leaf to find the pick. Trent follows up with 1 more. Just down to Basic. It would have to find a 1 versus 3 and the ace. Seen both. Down to 35 HP, and Leaf takes away the angle and keeps G2's hopes alive.
Definitely got scary there. G2, a 9th round on the board. With their backs up against the wall, they've been able to make it work. Furia, again, though, these executions have looked good. The retakes, a good adjustment at the very least. And a big part of that also comes down to the fact that Baby Bay's even able to get that no-scope into doors. Just buys that additional time. Doesn't allow Furia to swarm them as effectively as they would have wanted to. The job's not done yet.
No, not even close. Cash is still flush for Furia. Guardian for Trent. Operator with no armor for Baby Bay. Judge for Leaf. And that's going to force G2 to do something wild. Now Baby Bay gets scouted, gets pulled back. But do you expect this? Follow-up comes through, and Koalanu is able to take down both. Unbelievable transfer. Now the overdrive through. And Baby Bay actually connects, but he's getting absolutely whimpered staying alive. Maybe one more opportunity. Basic on the corner. Help from the shock dart comes through, and now Basic can take all the space away with the run it back. Spike is planted. Last hope comes down to Trent and Leaf. And the neural theft is going to have Furia completely confident in this post plant.
Leaf only has a judge.
Snake bite, shock darts, both coming through. Trent able to connect onto Basic. Shy is also a little bit low. But you've got to find a way to clear all this extra space away. Trent finds another, surely not. Trent gets one more behind this, leaves it just down to Shy for the 1v1. Can he find a way to get the win right here? Tag comes through, time becoming an issue. Shy just giving the space to the clock, and that will do it. Furia, surprise G2, take map number 3 and move into the upper semis.
An incredible turnaround here from Furia. An insane attacking half out of Koala Noob. His entries, the space making that we've seen from this duelist player, finding the comfort now within the Neon. This is a Furia that, again, the last time these two teams faced off within VCT Americas in 2026, Furia took the win. And eventually, that first place within kickoff, G2 unable to find their revenge today.
Unreal stuff. I mean, we said it for G2. Comfortable in the Champions points. The only thing you really have to do to guarantee yourself a spot is just not make a massive slip up. But now, all of a sudden, they find themselves in the danger zone, and Furia have may absolutely unlock something special between Basic and Koala Noob. What an immediate turnaround.